Welcome back to the Season 8 recap series. This is our main season wrap-up presented to you by Enamor Security Cameras, your eye in the sky. Diggory, what is this episode?
So this is what we're doing. We do this every season. We are going to go through our awards that are going to be revealed at the time of this launching. And then we are also going to talk about the individual teams one by one. Just giving our thoughts on the team's performance compared to what we talked about during the overview, and our general thoughts on the players' improvement.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it's funny to say that we do this every year when we have never done this before, so bear with us on the formatting. You're right. Season 8 is the first season. It's cosmetic, the number.
Just like Star Wars.
But yeah, we actually don't have too much to get into in the intro, and we have a whole lot to do in the rest of the episode, so I think we can just run it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, starting off the episode here, we're going to start off with the awards. Essentially, we offered our trainers the chances to vote on 12 categories for how individual Pokemon performed, specific roles. You'll see them as we go. This category started out tied, and in the case of tiebreakers, and this will become a running theme, the tie-breaking was left to me, as I didn't vote. I did ask for some help and some consultation from our good friend Post Structure, longtime community member. Since he wasn't a trainer, he didn't vote either. I asked him for some help just going through logic, kind of going back and forth. If you want to send your hate mail anywhere, send it to me, because Post didn't get the final say. I did. I really appreciate his help, but don't cyberbully him. That's all. That's my comment.
Just cyberbully juice.
That's fine. I have admin powers. I can deal with that.
Retribution.
But yes, for the carry, we had a tie between Ursaluna Bloodmoon and Armarouge, which is fair enough. They were like 22-2 and like 17-5 or something respectively.
Yeah, those are both extremely high kill counts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about the Ursaluna's like record-breaking history, and Armarouge, I mean, to get that record so well with like less support, I feel, is impressive. But
yeah.
After talking to Post, we decided that the tiebreaker here should go to Armarouge, which is interesting as like a Pokemon that felt less centric to. It feels weird to say, because Armarouge was less like the cornerstone of the team. It got a lot less support than the Bloodmoon did. And I honestly feel like that's what made the difference for me, because even though it got less kills, it just took the terrain, it took the bulldoze, and then it just went to town to 2-3 kills pretty much every game, and just opened so many holes for the rest of the team to take advantage of, that I feel like it put in so much work for this team in terms of damage, in terms of pressure, without like having to be like, it didn't receive all the support to do it. It just took a little bit, and then it just ran, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think my 2 cents on it is that while I do believe I voted for both of these to be the carry, I could see Armarouge being it over Ursaluna, because like we have to remember there is a distinction between the carry and the executioner. And while Ursaluna got a higher kill count, that position that Ursaluna was in to get that high kill count, I think, is equally on like the Farigiraf and the Incineroar and all these other Pokemon that like set this board state up. Armarouge, you could say sort of the same thing with like the Spectrier, but I'm just trying to make the point that like I think that the carry was distributed a little more evenly on Whiskey's team, even though Ursaluna was the one that got the final blows.
I feel like any really, really strong Trick Room setter on a similar team to Whiskey's might not pop off as hard, but could see success with such a strong support lineup. I don't think you can replace Armarouge with anything, if that makes sense, which is weird. I guess we'll just talk through top 3. I mean, obviously, we've talked about the Bloodmoon a lot. Still a ridiculous Pokemon. We'll talk more about it in a second. Third place would be Primarina. It endgames like 3 times, or like twice or 3 times with Calm Mind. It did so much damage. I feel like Aquarari's team doesn't have like a necessary like carry, even though Primarina did it. The Zeraora did a lot, the Xianpao did a lot, the Volcanion did a lot. So if you had to pick one, this makes sense, but it's not like as clear cut to me.
Yeah, I don't think I had too many votes for this category. I think the top ones that are represented are probably reflective of what I would have voted for as well. It's been a week, I don't remember.
That makes sense. But yeah, I think that's it for this category. We can move on to something else. All right, and we're back for Executioner. Pretty much the same thing. Ursaluna, Armarouge, and then Mega Garchomp and Salamence tied after that.
Mega Garchomp.
Mega Garchomp, is that what I said?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going with that for the episode. Okay, everything we can say about Armarouge being more of a carry, fair enough. Ursaluna Blood Moon got 22 kills. GG, shake my hand.
Yeah, Ursaluna was definitely the Pokemon where, like, when you see like 3 turns of Trick Room left and this thing is on the field with a Calm Mind, you're just like, oh, I guess it's over for me.
Or whatever. Yeah. Can you survive 5 turns in Trick Room? And the answer is usually absolutely not.
Yeah. The 5 Nights at Freddy's Bear or
no,
whatever.
Literally. Yeah, Freddy Fazbear or whatever. I guess
Down the list, we talked about Armarouge, we talked about Garchomp. Well, we kind of did.
We didn't really.
Garchomp, first time drafted, it started off really strong as far as kill counts. I don't think it came to nearly as many games as the others, so I think it's impressive that it's up here.
Yeah. It popped off early in the season, and this kind of also happened with Salamence, where both of them did really good early on, and then they kind of like came to less games or saw their like offensive prowess dwindle a little bit. But I think they were both still really valuable assets to the team. Garchomp popped off really early. Garchomp, excuse me, popped off really early. Salamence got a 5K week 1, so
yeah,
pretty
very scary.
Strong guys. Very funny. Out of our top, I guess 4 here, 3 of them are B tiers for Executioner.
Wow, you're right.
That's kind of funny. Moving on to the Bastion. No tie this time. Sinistcha takes it. That's not a surprise, I feel like.
Yeah, Sinistcha is one of those Pokemon that we saw repeatedly. Pokemon had a hard time bringing this thing down. There was maybe one answer to Sinistcha on the opponent's team, and Ned did a really good job of making sure that answer was taken care of early, and Sinistcha was just then playing its own stall game while everything else on the field died, including Ned's team.
Yeah, Machagacha is a stupid move, truly.
It's pretty good.
Access.
It is. It honestly feels like a lot of this. It feels like the Pokemon Legends Arceus moves, you know?
It really is. It's like AoE, burn chance, heal with a miss. Like, just take me out of my misery. Don't make me fight that. But yeah, it endgame a bunch of times. It did some funny stuff. Makes complete sense it would be here. Second place, Registeel. It's Registeel.
Yeah, we've seen this Pokemon be Wally in the past. It was maybe a couple times running the Body Press set, but a lot of times, like, just Natural Bulk made it hard to kill.
I mean, yeah, I saw it take, like, 50% from, like, an Ursaluna Blood Moon Earth Power or something once, and I was just like, all right, man, that's ridiculous. That's super effective. Yeah.
Suicune, very standard Suicune stuff, like it's set up
Dude,
a couple
it ran
times.
Assault Vest a couple times.
Yeah. It's just bulky. Like I think when I say standard stuff, I don't mean like the move set and every item. I just kind of mean like it is bulky. It's a bulky Pokemon that just kind of it lives and it dishes out damage slowly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a good Pokemon for sure. So, no complaints there about seeing it in third place.
Magneton's funny. That's more of a showstopper.
Yeah, I mean, Magneton, Archaludon, Primarina are all just, like, fat. So, yeah, Magneton had one game, I guess, that earned it.
Yeah, but it was funny enough to get people's attention, and Bastion at 4th place.
Just for that. Yeah, fair enough. Moving on to the Comrade. This was another tie between Spectrier and Iron Leaves. After some discussion, I think this one kind of came down to the, I guess, semantics of the Comrade, which is a theme we might see here a little bit. Part of the idea was like the idea of like, some amount of versatility in the Pokemon and general synergy with the team throughout, and just having multiple sets, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's your interpretation of it.
It's a weird award. It is something that we've had, I think, almost as far back as Season 1. Maybe it wasn't part of Season 1, but I have always interpreted this award to be like primarily a supportive Pokemon. It has a high bring rate that its supportive ability falls outside of the bounds, at least partially, of Cleric and of Disruptor.
Yeah, it's like
if the Pokemon is doing, it can overlap to being like a flexible damage dealer, as well. I just think it's more of a jack of all trades high bring rate to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And to me, I feel like the definition of that is Spectrier, because it played a lot of games. It flexed into a damage roll with a nasty plot and the Grimnay, of course. It ran Taunt. It ran the Bulldoze. It ran like a manual side move to not lower Armarouge's speed. It ran some other stuff that I don't even think I can spoil because, you know, it was on the pace and Burnt still in playoffs, of course. So I feel like Spectrier was just such a utility to this whole team in general. It even, like, won an endgame too, you know, just off of damage. So it's weird to say this for Spectrier, but I mean, it really was a support Pokemon with damage potential rather than a Hydrogen Bomb with 150 base speed or whatever it is.
It's 130, but yeah.
Oh, right, wrong one.
I think that, like, it's interesting. Both of these top two, Iron Leaves and Spectrier, my opinions of them and, like, my conception of what they do in doubles was widely, you know, blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Is that the right phrase?
Yeah, no,
yeah, I was surprised. Iron Leaves, I didn't have any good opinion of. Spectrier, I was just like, this is a limited moveset offensive cannon. But, nope, they're both really good support Pokemon.
Yeah. No, big shout out to Iron Leaves. The coaching, the quick guard, the quash.
The gravity.
The gravity, of course, damage potential. Like, this was a hard category. It kind of came down to, like, bring rates and Spectrier being a little more versatile, I feel like. But Iron Leaves, such a glow up. I love this Pokemon. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I guess, go ahead.
It just interesting to me that, like, on the season where you have two very dominant side terrain teams, Iron Leaves being as good and surprising, like, being completely different from, like, distinct from those teams. Not on the side terrain.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it likes the electric terrain too, but it wasn't on that team either. So,
yep.
You know. Real quick on the C tier, Whimsicott. It's Whimsicott. It's always gonna have a slot on Comrade, I feel like.
You said C tier, but that's an A tier.
D tier. Sorry, A tier. Oh, I'm sorry. Third voter. I mean, my bad. Whimsicott was a C tier once. Don't worry about it.
It sure was. Fourgeist has been. I don't know if it's been here before. It's gotten a lot of rewards before. It's a very good Pokemon.
It has Bastion, I think, and that might be it. But it's such a ridiculous B tier in its role. So, all right. So we're on to Cleric now, and this was the hardest category to tiebreak for both, at least myself. I think Post had a similar opinion. It was hard to pick between these two, and part of that comes down to your definition of Cleric and what you value in terms of, like, bring rate and things like that.
Yeah, that's usually useful to see, like, once those positive effects have been given, how useful, you know, did they end up? Does that make sense? Like, was it game winning when you clicked Heal Pulse that one time, or was it inconsequential, even if you clicked it a lot?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to do here. I went through every single game that Cresselia played, every single game that Alchemy played, looked at their buffs, looked at their support, and saw exactly what they did. And in this case, reviewing that, I feel like I have to go with Cresselia here. The frequency of how often it was brought just meant it was able to do cleric-y things a lot more. This Cresselia was a little bit more, like, I guess, like, it got a lot of finishing blows. It was the kill leader for this team, but it had a lot of screens and general sustain with the, not Life Dew, Lunar Blessing, that I feel like helped this team out quite a bit since it was decently bulky. And even though I don't really count self-healing, it being healed in the process of pocketing its teammate meant that this thing actually stuck around a while to help remove some threats for the team, which doesn't really count, but it was just kind of like a nice side effect. So
sure,
I felt
I
like
get it. Yeah.
Just reading through all, like, the damage done through screens and everything, that Cresselia was a little bit better of a pick for the candidate, but for this category, but it was very, very close.
Alchemy absolutely was a well-used Pokemon this season.
Yeah.
It did mostly decorate stuff as far as I remember.
That was pretty much the bulk thing.
Yeah, I think that, at least personally, when I think of Cleric, while we do define it as positive buffs, I feel like traditionally, to me, it's more things like cleansing and healing as opposed
damage
to stat
reduction.
boosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not that I was sort of involved with the tiebreak, but I think my money would have been on Cress as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I included Decorate as a factor in Cleric because I assume that's why people voted it. But when I looked back, one of the Decorate games was really, really impactful, and the other one, it helped, but it wasn't game winning, and it didn't end up winning the game after all. And the third game, I don't think it actually got to click any Cleric-y things. So in terms of frequency, it's hard to compete with Cresselia, even if this wasn't Cresselia's most Cleric-y season. So, that's all.
Yeah. Then we have Jolteon in third.
Which honestly had a pretty good chance in this tiebreaker just because it clicked 2 heal bells that were both game winning.
You're saying if it had been in the tiebreaker?
If it had been, like, it would have been very much a contender with the other 2 if it had an extra vote.
Right.
It was pretty close. Those heal bells were actually those were just game winning, I feel like, so.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it's also Flame Orb, so just the image of it, like, its status itself so that others could be not statused.
And then it would immediately restatus itself after cleansing its status.
Yeah. Just kind of humorous. And it's also funny because in the top 5 we're looking at right now, we see only 1 fairy type.
That's true.
And traditionally, this is the big fairy award.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the Disruptor. I don't have to break a tie for once. I'm already tired of it, and I've only broken like 2 of them in this video.
Yep. Well, Disruptor we typically give to Pokemon that were very annoying, whether that is things like Fake Out or Redirection or just anything that's going to interrupt your game plan and make it about them. You know, Zeraora was very flexible this season. It's doing a lot more than its typical like Fake Out pivot stuff. You want to talk? I think you had looked a little more closely at the movesets for that thing.
So I had to go through it for something else down the line, but I went through every single game it played, and in terms of like disruptive stuff, I mean, there's the obvious Fake Outs. There is some like damage coverage. There was a knockoff on an Eviolite Porygon 2. There was some Thunder Waves. There was some Electro Webs. There was the Fling King's Rock in there as well. And in general, this thing's speed tier and flexibility with that speed tier made it so annoying to deal with, I feel like. And on top of that, it could also just kill you. So I feel like this thing was just kind of hell to deal with.
Yeah, looking at these top 3 or 4, honestly, like I'm happy that Zera won. Garganacl was very useful, but I think it was much less flexible in its utility this season.
It was kind of Cleric-y with the Wide Guard.
I wouldn't call that Cleric-y.
Well, I feel like Wide Guard's a Cleric-y thing.
I think that's a Comrade move.
No, I feel like that's a support, like protecting the team type thing. That's like a Reinhardt shield, but you know.
Sure, Reinhardt's a tank though.
Well, fair enough. Bastion then. But yeah, Garganacl was disruptive, but I don't feel like especially so, you know.
Yeah, Incineroar was I think very classically like it's a disruptive Pokemon, but this season it did banded things.
Yeah, it kept it ran like Life Orb and like Choice Band and just like killed things.
Yeah, I also think that like Incineroar shared its like disruptor role in the team with Amoonguss and with Giraffe even. Yeah. So I'm happy that it didn't win here. Magneton.
It was the disruptor Pokemon for one game.
Once again, we look at it, and this is a showstopper that's crept into another category.
Yeah.
I think this is like, not to discount, like it's obviously popped off, and I was really happy to watch this thing. But I'm sensing some like recency bias with some of these votes.
Ooh.
For Magneton at least.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was like the one big game, and I think it was decent in the other one. I don't remember, but yeah, it wasn't. It certainly wasn't like taking over
Steven,
every game.
You can leave some feedback in the comments if I'm wildly out of line here. One other thing, it looks like we have a pretty steep drop off between like Magneton and Shuckle. So it just tells me that like we had some very clear-cut disruptor candidates, and others were sort of just taking scraps.
Yeah, for sure.
Votes.
Yeah, I mean, I think very interesting distribution, but Zeraora clinches it by a single vote, so fair enough, I guess. Cool. So we are on to the wild card, and I'm back to tie breaking. It's Azelf and Zeraora tied up here. I talked to Post about this one and ended up going through every single game that both of these Pokemon played, which was unfortunate because they played 12 different games, so that took a while. But
wow.
After going through all of them, I think we came to the conclusion that we have to give it to Zeraora here. And mainly that was just, number one, it played more games and thus had more chances to do set variety. It usually ran a damaging move, but it had a lot of different sets. It had coaching, it had Fling King's Rock, it had a couple different coverage options, it had Taunt, the obvious Fake Outs, Electro Web, Helping Hand as well. So just a lot of different sets that it took advantage of, as opposed to Azelf, which did a couple really funny things. It did Helping Hand on the 4x attack Tauros Paldea Blaze.
Is that the weak one?
Yeah, that was the weak one. It tried to Helping Hand it, which didn't end up working, and then just did some good special damage. It did Skill Swap Levitate onto Armarouge to deny it Expanding Force. And then in Game 3, it didn't really do anything. Game 4, it did some Stealth Rocks and Encored Hands into Fake Out and did some good damage to get Aegis/a kill. I think the tiebreaker to me was that in those 3 instances where Azelf did something really funny, it didn't end up being, even though it was really flashy, it didn't end up being as, like, I guess, like, not effective, but it didn't end up, you know, winning the game on its own. You know, the Stealth Rocks got aimed at Volcarona, got blocked by the heavy-duty boots. The skill swap on Armarouge ended up Armarouge just started clicking Heat Wave and blowing things up that way, etc. So I feel like in terms of, even though it was a little bit less flashy, Zeraora just got a little bit more done, if that makes sense.
I can see your point for that. I think personally I would have given it to Azelf over Zera. I believe I voted for both of them. Maybe we should explore ranked choice voting in the future.
I'm kind of down with that because I think that's funny, but that would also be a hell to set up.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, so my thought process is like, with the wild card, it's definitely less focused for me on outcome and more on set variety, but also prep, like inducing prep hell to your opponent.
Right.
And I think that Azelf does that more than Zera on paper.
I don't know how much people are prepping for Zera, given it's like, you know, or for Azelf, given it's like, you know, it's in C tier. So I don't know if people are like crazy stressing over what Azelf's gonna do to them, because you're usually worried about like, you know, top 3 and some B tiers, maybe a specific C tier with a good matchup, you know?
That's so fair. I'm like I said, I voted for both of these in this category, and I think that they're both deserving of it.
I feel like I just had to tie break on like the sort of like efficiency side of things, because I feel like both were pretty varied and interesting in their sets. So
yeah,
that's all. But it was tough.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to Spectrier real quick.
Yeah, very quickly, Spectrier. I mean, it's like we said earlier when we talked about it as the Comrade. It was flexible. It did a lot for the team, both supportively and offensively. And you know, when you prep into the Spectrier, which you have to do because it is an A tier and it is a 100% bring rate A tier, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, you have to just make a call. Is it going to be supportive this week? Is it going to run specs? Like it's tough to know.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk about Ditto real quick, because we did comment on this. It's very funny that Ditto showed up in this category, but I think it fits the category. But it's humorous because it's a Pokemon that gets one move. You know exactly what move it's running. Pretty much you know what the EV spread is every week.
Yeah.
And you know what all your Pokemon moves are. So once it's transformed, there's still no mystery to it. However, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, what's it like when you see it in team preview? You still are like, well, I have no idea how this is gonna, you know, what's gonna pan out this game because of Ditto showing up. So it's just it's funny. 100% knowledge, 0% ability to predict.
I do like Ditto beating out Smeargle, where Ditto has a singular set that it can run, and Smeargle has a million sets that it can run. So
yeah.
That's just a funny mix-up to me, but, you know, I think that's it for this category. We can move on to Secret Weapon, which we actually very recently re-tie broke because I can't read.
Yeah, we don't really have to get into that, I think, but
yeah.
There was a little discrepancy with it.
Secret Weapon, just to confirm, is essentially a Pokemon that didn't play a ton, but was really important to the games when it did play.
Yeah, I like just short phrases, low bring rate, high win rate.
Makes sense. And to me, both of these Pokemon are here because of one game. Right?
Magneton had the game where it popped off. Magneton had the game where it trapped and then popped off.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I kind of equate those two games sort of equally. So looking at the other two games, in the other game, Dragalge pretty much got one non-adaptability Thunderbolt off, and Magneton got a little bit more done in the other games with a little bit of pivoting and some other stuff. So I feel like because of that, I have to give the tiebreak to Magneton here.
Yeah.
These are both very showstoppery secret weapons, but fair enough. There's some overlap there.
There's a little bit of overlap. I honestly, I would have liked to see Mega Pidgeot in this, to be honest.
I kind of feel that. It came to different games and was a little bit more consistent throughout, you know? So
it was more impactful on average for the games that it was brought to. As
I
opposed to
agree.
these two having like extreme impact in one game. But that's the way the votes went. I can definitely agree with you on the way that the tiebreak was directed.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be it for Secret Weapon. Moving on to Showstopper. We've got another tie between Ditto and Swampert here.
So
this
I think
was
we
a
should talk
hard
about
one.
what the games were that we actually were referencing for Showstopper, because when we nominate, we usually do have one game in mind, and we kind of hope that everyone's aware of that game. So the Ditto was the matchup against PokéParty, where the Ditto copied Talonflame, and then copied Cresselia, and then copied Cresselia again, and endgamed with
Scarf Lunar Blessing.
Yeah.
And it just it kept the Metagross alive on 2% through some Draco Meteors.
Yep. Swampert, we saw the iconic Rindo Berry Mirror Coat to kill a leaf, to basically reflect a Leaf Storm from Superior.
Yeah, and it was EV'd to pretty much perfectly live the Leaf Storm and KO back.
Yeah.
Which is a ridiculous piece of prep in that, if you take any chip, your strategy immediately fails because you died a Leaf Storm through Rindo Berry, so yeah.
And it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. I think in the tiebreak, I feel like it has to go to Ditto here because at the end of the day, for as iconic as this Swampert's Rindo Berry Mirror Coat set was, it was kind of just really targeted at one specific Pokemon that, granted, Superior wasn't even that, common or, generally strong this season in general, It was one really scary turn, whereas Ditto pretty much defines the entire game and end game of, the match it came to, right?
Yeah.
So,
I like Ditto for this. We didn't actually show the Swampert match when it came to the recaps, but the Ditto match was so personally moving to me that I put Ditto in the thumbnail.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there is obviously some amount of bias in, games people saw and everything, but a lot of people voted for Swampert, so clearly they did probably see the match, and we actually did shout it out in the week it happened, I believe, in the intro and/or outro. So I think it makes sense. In third place, Magneton's back. He's here for the same thing we said before. It was a really funny game.
And then next up we had the Glamora, which was probably there for the fake out Covert Cloak with Toxic Spikes. And that was
For
making Kangaskhan. So we had the 2-hit fake out, getting
Yeah.
both layers.
I feel like there's a lot of really memorable games on the screen here. I mean, you can't see all of them, but, Sinistra with the PP game, Durant, which is a little bit lower, with some just funny, sweeping things. Vaporeon had the Synchronoise setup, so I honestly just look through these Pokemon on your own and just look through the games that they're referencing if you haven't seen them, because there's so many funny games in here.
I hope that our voters have seen them since they voted, but...
That's true, but go rewatch them, because they're funny, and I love them. But, yeah, that's it for Showstopper, then. Alright, we're on to our last 3 awards, starting off with the Frenemy. This is our newest award, started this season. This is a Friend Ball specific award for pretty much funniest performance in Friend Ball. It's the Showstopper equivalent for Friend Ball matches. And our winner this season... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, we made this award because we didn't want Friend Ball to steal the spotlight away from sets that were done during the regular season, because we were kind of afraid that they would.
I felt like... I think I was the one who proposed it, but I thought that it was more interesting when Showstopper-esque sets were awarded in a game that had, points on the line, diff, playoffs potential, and everything. So I thought that should be credited separately than a game that doesn't mean as much, but it was just there for fun, right? But
I think given what we just reviewed, I completely agree. I think it worked out well because we saw some really cool sets.
I think this was a very successful award edition, and we'll probably keep it in the future, assuming Friend Ball sticks around. But our winner this time around is
it's me,
your Mega Venusaur. What did it do? Tell me.
It ran Priority Roar with the help of After You, and just clicked Roar a bunch of times.
And you had a bunch of hazards on the field, right?
Yes. Yes,
Stealth Rock
I
and
had
such?
spent the first turn setting up Stealth Rocks and 3 layers of spikes, and on the team I had 3 people running Roar, 3 Pokemon running Roar, and then Red Card on Arcanine. But most
Yeah.
of that didn't pan out, and Mega Venusaur ended up being like the only thing that really clicked the Roar.
Which I think actually
And
worked to your benefit in this award. Because if other Pokemon were
yes,
also clicking Roar, it probably wouldn't have been as clear that Mega Venusaur was, like, the guy.
yep, it ran also like kind of a stall set. It had Curse, Synthesis, and then I finished off the game with Petal Blizzard,
Yeah, for sure. So,
which is a
fun,
silly move.
very funny set. Looking down the list, Claydol was for the Week 2 versus Akurari, where in the last turn, Ven decided, I'm losing this game. I'm taking as many people as I can with me with Choice Band Explosion Claydol.
Sure,
Which,
why not?
funny. That was probably one of my favorite friend ball matches, at least traditional ones of the season. That's a really fun game.
I'm pretty
So-
sure Ven also fully called out that Explosion Claydol was coming.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I think that
in
the
the nickname.
meme was, I think it was week 2, and the meme was after our match. She said I should have brought. I forget
Oh,
exactly what it was, but she telegraphed it, and then it still came.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last one is for Grimmsnarl, which honestly is not here for anything it actually did in Friend Ball. It was just the comedic value of the whole, I will not click Geomancy, and then clicks Geomancy, you know?
Yeah,
I guess I can
it
throw
did
the
click
through-
it.
It did click it after saying he wouldn't, but it immediately died, so I think that was just mostly the comedic value, so I guess I'll throw the screenshot up on right now, but yeah, a lot of, I feel like we didn't get as many silly friend ball sets, in part because a couple of them just didn't happen, and some other stuff in between, you know, but the ones that we did have were really, really good, so thank you guys.
Yeah, we had some, I believe we had 2 friend ball matches that didn't happen. We had one that was sort of unofficialized, but then reinstated for some weird reasons. We definitely had some like rules to iron out mid-season for friend ball, which is kind of unusual. So we appreciate your patience with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we'll have some better guidelines that'll allow for a lot of flexibility next season.
Next up is the Miracle. This was a 3-way tie. You guys are making my life hell.
Yay!
So we've
Who won
got
it?
Aerodactyl, Cradily, Registeel. 3 C tiers, 2 of them rock type, 1 of them steel type, and it's gonna go to the steel type. That's my boy Registeel.
We love steel types.
Well, don't say that.
I'm invoking ire.
Okay. This is certainly not gonna backfire. Yeah, all 3 of these Pokemon have a very strong argument for it. I feel like Registeel just did so much for OJ. Granted, we kind of already knew Registeel was cracked as a C tier, but
We knew Cradily was cracked. That thing has won Miracle before, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, for sure. And that was honestly kind of some of the logic against it, was just like, it's known to be really good in its role. It's won Miracle.
It had a worse spring rate as
Yeah.
Registeel came to almost every match after it
I mean,
started.
Registeel, like you
arriving.
said, was his kill leader for a while. It got a bunch of kills for him. It took a lot of damage. It did exactly what you thought Registeel would do, but it did it really, really well. So
Yeah. Aerodactyl, I believe, was I'm happy that it got up here. It was definitely Peanut's cornerstone, but I believe you and I both agree that it probably could have done more.
yeah, I feel like I like the idea of Aerodactyl more than I like Season 8 Aerodactyl itself. I feel like there was potential for more wide guard, and you called out Fast Sunny Day as like a more supportive Pokemon, because the top 3 on the team really had a lot of damage output. And
Yeah.
I feel like Aerodactyl already did a lot of damage and did a lot for this team, but I think there was a little bit of missed potential here that make me favor Registeel over it, personally.
I see. Yeah. So I think that makes sense. Registeel. It's always interesting to see, like we said earlier, like a last draft pick rather.
Make it,
Just
yeah.
show up.
I guess we should call out what Cradily actually did this season specifically, real quick. Plastic found Power Herb Meteor Beam Cradily really early on, which is very impressive for someone pretty much just picking up the competitive format, right? And just general Storm Drain shenanigans. I think it like clicks some ancient powers at some point, so It was pretty good this season too, so no shade to any of these. These all definitely could have won it, and I would have had no complaints.
Yeah, even as far down as Jolteon and Ampharos, both of them very strong Pokemon on their respective teams, winning
For
games.
Sure. Absolutely. I guess that brings us to our last category, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to be flop. Congratulations. You've done it.
Yay. I hate Kyurem Black now. I was excited about it before the season, and with every passing week, I was more and more disappointed.
I told you to take Roaring Moon.
We should have. We should have done that.
That's okay.
Kyurem Black, I really wanted to just be like a powerful setup sweeper, and it failed to do that on every occasion. It ended up only coming to 4 games. 2 of them were scarfed special sets, and that's because it has no physical move pool. And you have to run loaded dice. If you basically don't have an ice type move if you aren't running loaded dice.
Yeah, your only physical set is like loaded dice Dragon Dance, pretty much, right? Because you can't reasonably like band or scarf super easily without like suffering move pool hell. And the special sets, like, dude, at that point just run regular Kyurem, you know? Save yourself the S tier slot. But
it got 2 kills, but they were completely on the back of it dodged a Draco. So I'm not going to credit it for that. And it's in my heart, it is 0 kills and 4 deaths.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, 5 deaths, right?
I feel like, I mean, I think we'll talk about it later, but I feel like this Pokemon has more potential on a different team that can support it better. But I definitely don't think it was all I thought it would be, for sure.
It is such a downgrade from Kyurem White, it's not even funny.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any question about that, but we can stop cyberbullying Kyurem Black for a bit. Moving on to, I guess, flops. Flops a fun category. This was the first one I went through and tried to, like, think about, I guess. Talking about Iron Valiant, I feel like it was hard. It was hard because, like, you know, there was a lot of just, like, struggle bus on this team in general. But Iron Valiant is a Pokemon you kind of expect to be able to go like 1-for-1 at least every game, and it just couldn't do it this season.
Yeah, it had a little bit of trouble, I think, finding the right moveset. It does have a lot. It has a very deep move pool, but honestly, I think that like there are moves that it can just bring every week and still be very good. So I agree. There's not a lot of excuse for it getting no kills.
I mean, yeah, it was getting supported by Pincurchin with the Quark Drive boost, and then Pincurchin diffed it.
Yeah.
Which
definitely a good contender for this award.
Yeah, for sure. And then
down the list.
Ogerpon's Heal Mask. I don't know. This was interesting because, I mean, we saw every Ogerpon drafted, and Heal is probably the most flexible one just because no item lock, and it's generally, it can't run like double stab every week, you know?
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I liked it on the team on paper. I thought like it fit the team pretty well.
Yeah, I think the Ogerpon probably is able to pass some of the blame on to the rest of the roster, sharing a lot of the same weaknesses. Yeah. So I don't know if it. I'm happy that it didn't win the flop. Like I don't think it was as deserving as the top 2 were.
No.
But
I feel like
missed opportunity probably is what we can call it.
Yeah, I feel like in retrospect, having a grass type follow me user when your entire team is sharing weaknesses with that mono grass type makes that strategy less effective. So you kind of have to get carried by other things, and she just couldn't do it on this team, which it makes sense. I don't think this thing deserves to win it, but definitely a contender for sure.
Yep.
So,
that'll do it.
I guess that's it for our awards. That's all 12 of them. 7 tie breaks. So, you know, 8?
That was 8.
I thought it was, I miscounted. One of them wasn't a real tie break. So like 7,
okay, so it's 7,
which is the majority. So, sorry if I tie broke against you. That's the game. But,
yeah, we had quite a lot of people not vote. I think if you know,
we had approximately 13 votes total out of our 18 trainers. So 5 of you could have done it. You know who you are, so none of you get to yell at me for the way I split the vote.
I mean, it's possible that the tie breaks could have just increased. We could have had more with extra votes. Who knows?
You're right. Everyone just keeps tie breaking.
We'll work on a system next year, I guess.
No, we won't. We'll do this again, and we'll hope there's less. But I guess that's going to be the award section of the video. So I guess on to team overview.
Yes.
With the awards out of the way, we're moving on to the general player recap for the season. Essentially what we're going to do is, as in previous seasons, we're just going to go through every player one by one, review their team, review how they did, good things, bad things, and just overall talk about how the season went for them. So, we'll go in team order. So starting us off, that would be Stone. Digger, if you want to get us started about Stone's team and performance.
Yeah. So Stone was one of our 3 newcomers for Season 8. And overall, I think they did really well. I don't know if they were the most novice to Pokemon coming in, but I do know that they had very little experience with competitive, and similar to a lot of our new players, not much experience with Pokemon outside of the mainline games. And given that, I think that they took to it really well. Their draft was actually kind of insane. I think that they had a really strong team, like we talked about way back in the season overview, but also just throughout the season as we covered their matches. But yeah, from a draft perspective, very good. I think that they got a lot of good use out of certain Pokemon like Blaziken, and others I think they maybe started getting a little more used to towards the end of the season, just a little bit too late. Another note that I have for them is I think that they became a little too focused on certain sort of quote-unquote surprise strats as opposed to sort of bread and butter stable sets that some of these Pokemon are so well known for, and the reason that they're tiered so highly. Blaziken was an exception to that. I think they did a really good job of just clicking the stab button a lot and using Protect to play around the board state while Blaziken got speed boost up. But then you had things like Normal Gem Explosion, which I think he ran more than once. There was a lot of focus on Hex on Giratina. I don't know if those always made it to the final version of the team, but just having seen a lot of the earlier versions of a lot of teams,
yeah, Toxic Spike's Hex I think was a common one he wanted to run, and Dragon Shear setups as well. Plus just Ditto playing a lot of games, which sometimes it actually did work out, but Ditto's one of those Pokemon where it's does it need to play so many games? It's a little...
Yeah, I think for set building, we also had a case of a lot of Pokemon would have mixed sets without shared investment, and sometimes even actively negative natures towards one of the 2 attacking types. Giratina did that a lot, where I think there was several weeks where I would see Thunderbolt coverage that would cause most of the Giratina set to be special, but then you would see Phantom Force thrown in there or something like that. And well, I think most of the time it's not the end of the world. That's just a little trend that I did notice while I was looking at some of their teams throughout the season. Yeah. I liked the use of Lapras a lot. As also Metagross, I think I did mention the Normal Gem Explosion, but even aside from that, I think there was a lot of good Metagross play, and I think it even endgamed once, right?
Yeah, I mean, it endgamed with the Ditto copy once that won the game, so that was definitely good. Yeah, no, Metagross was nice this season. Blaziken, like you said, was nice. Whimsicott was pretty good. I feel like I wanted to see more Encore.
We didn't see any Encore, not that I know of.
No, I think it might have been run, but it wasn't clicked. But it's one of those things that's a little hard to wrap your head around. Why would making them click buttons again be helpful? But then, you Encore them into Protect. It's good game, shake my hand. Yeah.
It had a lot of room to click it, I think, this season. There was quite a lot of setup in both Timer and Quick, so I just feel like this would have been a really good season to have a Prankster Encore on your team. I think for improvement over the season, we saw their game sense go up quite a lot, understanding which Pokemon needed to stick around for certain threats on the opponent's team, how to get to certain board states. These are sort of nebulous concepts that new players will often struggle with, and I think as the season went on, we saw some of that kind of come into his tool set more.
Yeah, for sure. No, on the whole, I think this was a pretty solid first run for Stone, and I think it was a little bit shaky. It was definitely it took, I think, him a little bit of time to get off the ground, but I think once it really started to click, the season started going a lot better for him. And you can kind of see that a lot of the wins and closer games in general came, later in the season, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So on the whole, very good season. I hope we see more of Stone either off season or, potential future seasons in the future, because we love to see just general character growth, and if people run similar sets, different sets, the whole thing. So definitely hype for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we want to move on to next team. That's going to be Sword Dad Show. This is Techno's team. He's not here to talk about it himself this time, so I guess, this is mysterious.
Yeah, we can have at it.
Yeah.
Techno is our only player not to draft an S tier. He has the AAA core. They all came to every match.
Mm-hmm.
I think he, not to put words in his mouth, but I think he probably is proud of how Suicune performed, and
yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
even H/Slash to a point. Like, I know earlier in the season he might have, I don't know if regretted drafting H/Slash is the right term, because he definitely wanted him for the theme. But you mentioned that he would complain about H/Slash to you. I think it ended up doing fine. Like, its record looks really good. I think part of that was to the last match that it came to, but I wouldn't say it dragged the team down at the end of the day.
I mean, I think it drags down the early games. Like, obviously, do you really want to be bringing Aegislash into the hard Sun team? It's a little tough. I know you brought your Goldengo into the Sun team, but whatever. But, I think a lot of it was just trying to make this Pokemon with 140 base attack and special attack in its offensive mode deal damage. And it took him a while to find out that not only is Aegislash, pretty comfortable as a Stallmon, but next to Suicune, there's a lot of bulk on this team, right? And you can just sit there and wait for things to fall over. And I think trying to force Aegislash into like a sweeper weakness policy style just was not it, and was really what held it back. I still think the Pokemon is not good, but it's definitely better in that role than as a, weakness policy
that's
sweeper.
True. We also talked a bit about Comfey throughout the season. Like, it came to 2 matches, and I think it did well in the matches that it came to. But we talked earlier, like, I almost said Stone. Technovoid likes bringing C tiers. He wants to get his C tiers wins.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to have their games played stat be pretty high. And so what that really means is that he has to drop something from his top 6, and that usually just ended up being Comfey. I don't necessarily think that's like a knock against Comfey or anything.
I think it was really good here, just with Suicune, and more defensive Aegislash could have been really nice, but it just, you couldn't drop the Meowscarada, and where else is the damage? So like, it's unfortunate, but just kind of how it worked out with the way he wanted to play the season, right?
Yeah, I think the other B tiers were really positive notes. Tauros, this might have been the first time it was taken ever.
Blaze?
But I think Blaze has not been drafted before. I think that was the only one that hadn't been drafted. It did a lot. It got some great intimidates down throughout the season. It ended up getting, I don't know if it was like banned sets off or something like that, but it felt like it was a wall breaker.
It was banned in the last week.
Yeah, Mega Garchomp also, like, it was the early season terror. It had, I think, at least multiple weeks on the like MVP top spot.
Yeah, starting like week, I think 3 essentially. It was MVP, and it stayed that way.
It was deathless for a while too.
Yeah.
Really cool to see this Pokemon pop off. Like, it was I think it's been one of the things that people just have been sort of afraid to touch because of this sort of
92 base speed.
Well, no, I was gonna say it's more like a feeling around it. People, it builds like this mythos of, is this a throw pick? And I think we've proved here it's definitely not. Like, it with proper support can go off. And
yeah,
I think it got that this season. Like, besides having Comfey, it had like Tailwind support from Suicune. It had like Sticky Web support from Vikavolt. Togetic had Follow Me. I don't know if all these things like actually came out with the Garchomp, but I think that some of them did. And
I think it's also like, when you're dealing with like a Mega Salamence, you bring Ice Beam on this entire team, right? But when the top 3 is Suicune, Aegislash, and a Meowscarada that's probably not going to stay as Grass type for very long, you're not packing as many Ice type moves just to deal with a B tier, and I think Garchomp took advantage of that for a while, especially while people were realizing that this thing is actually kind of cracked.
Yeah. So overall, I think this is Techno's best season in a long time. Like, record-wise, he did very well. Like, there were several Time Roll players 4-4, so he finished like solidly in the middle of the pack. But like that middle of the pack had records that went like the same record got playoffs essentially. Like
Yeah.
this team very well. Honestly, I feel like this team should have gotten playoffs. He got a little bit diffed by some bad RNG in some of the like it was second to last week.
And every now and then, but yeah, I mean, I could easily see this team going playoffs, and it's interesting because this was like a team where Techno took like it easier. This is the first time he's not using the same logo and everything. He's like, this is gonna be my silly team where I rep this show and I see if I can make these Pokemon work, and it ended up fitting together pretty well. So I think for him it was a success in that he wanted to take the season easier and not like sweat or stress too much over it. And the team was still pretty good despite that. So I think it's a success in that book.
Yeah. I hope he walks away feeling proud of the season. I think it was one to be proud of.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. All right, on to our third team. That's gonna be Peanut with Ancient Suns. This is our resident Sun team.
Yep, this was our I want to say one of only two hard weather teams, and I think the only one in
Timer.
In Timer. I'm not going to count Steven's team. I don't really feel like that was a hard weather team. This one brought Charizard every week. This was a Sun team every week. I mean, it's hard to say Peanut had like an amazing season. I think he had a little bit of a rough one, like even beyond the early season tough. RNG. Like there were several matches that should have been wins that were losses, and you could chalk that up to rolls. But I think also like this team was in those positions because it struggled overall to keep the sun up, and when the sun was up to do what it needed to do to like close out the game. I've always held that Zard Y is a bit of a rough one when it's like your only fire type on the Sun team. It's your only Sun setter. In this team, it was sometimes responsible for. I don't know if it ever actually did set Tailwind. I feel like it might have tried.
I don't think it did.
No. Well, either way, I think there was a lot on its shoulders, and I mean, it did get a lot of kills throughout the season, but at the same time, I don't know if like the other two Photosynthesis users felt very supported as Sun sweepers, where like
especially Wake, which is so dependent on the weather.
Yeah, agreed. Clefairy was another Pokemon that I kind of expected to see more of. It came to half the matches and it won none of them.
I didn't really see Clefairy fitting this team too well, because Clefairy to me feels like something you pair with like something like, kind of bulky that you just like make unkillable, as opposed to just like a standard redirect.
It's really good. I think it's really good next to Wake. And to some extent Zard. Like Zard obviously fears Rock Slide, which Clefairy cannot help with. But the other two Sun Sweepers I think like Clefairy a lot.
That's fair.
I think there were a lot of positive things on this team as well, like with Aerodactyl's usage, I think impressed a lot of people.
One behind Charizard in terms of kills, and a game less too.
I was surprised that it didn't run Sunny Day ever. I know other Pokemon did, like besides Charizard, set the sun. I think Serena had it a couple times. But Aerodactyl being so fast felt like it could have been a better sun setter on this team. It does have access to the move. I did check. And I think that like with that, it might have taken a lot of the burden off of Zard.
Yeah, for sure. I think also more wide guard earlier on probably would have been nice. I think it started showing up like late into the season, but just having it early on to deal with like, hyper voices and rock slides especially would have been, I think, especially helpful. So I think Aerodactyl was good this season. It was really good this season. It did a lot for this team. I think it still could have done more, which is kind of a ridiculous thing to say, but Yeah.
So overall, I think this was probably still a fun season for Peanut. Like, I don't think it's ever a bad time when you're using cool Pokemon like Wake and Great Tusk, like just to click buttons and kill things.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that said, Great Tusk, Walking Wake, great and all. There's exactly one Pokemon on this team with a perfect win rate.
Oh, it's Orthworm.
it's my goat Orthworm.
Oathworm. He's taking oaths.
But yeah, I think that's it for this team. So we can move on to the fourth one.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Ned's team. This is Jovial Fakeout. This team is going to playoffs. I think it's the first one it's the first one we've talked about so far that is going to playoffs. Scary team. Why is it this fast?
Yeah, Ned's big guys.
Ned's big guys. That is the first note.
Yeah, that's on my notes. Ned's big guys. All right, well, yeah, I mean, this has been a great season for Ned. They managed to do quite a lot with, I think, all three high tiers here, like the Zamazenta, Blastoise, and Sinistcha, all did pretty well.
I think Mega Blastoise was the worst of the 3 SAA, which is a crazy thing to say because it's Mega Blastoise and it was still good.
Yeah, its record is good. It came to 7 out of 8 games.
No, it did well this season. I just think it did less than the other two. Yeah.
Zamazenta did a lot of wall breaking. It is the kill leader on this team. Sinistcha was like the final boss of the team several weeks where it just didn't die.
Second phase.
And it sort of single-handedly won the game. I think, I don't know if I mentioned this, I feel like Sinistcha has an interesting, it's like both at the same time, it's all my friends are dead syndrome, and it's so are you. Like,
yeah. That was honest.
It plays the game so much slower than some of these other Pokemon, despite there is a lot of bulk on this team. But like, I think that it's just sort of the last bastion of Ned's team.
Genuinely, it almost backfired because the strategy of essentially having one Pokemon left means that a lot of your wins are like 1-0s essentially, and it means Ned's diff is kind of atrocious, and it almost cost them the playoff spot.
Yeah, they have a -2 diff at 5 and 3. That's kind of insane. I think I forget what they said. They mentioned this. They called this out. Like they have what the 4th lowest diff in timer right now. And they have a playoff spot.
Yeah,
pretty secure one at that.
Which is kind of silly, but yeah, I think the team was interesting. Garganacl and Excelgor are Pokemon we don't see too much. You know, weird types, but I think at least Garganacl did pretty well. Excelgor we didn't see a ton of, but
I wasn't very impressed by Excelgor. It's literally never been a Pokemon I've considered drafting, and nothing that happened this season really.
It clicked Final Gambit twice. That was it.
Chandelure is a goat, and it is. This is not the first season that we've seen Chandelure come and win every game that has come to. So
yeah,
go off, King.
Yeah.
Persian was also something that I wanted to draw note to because like
it was kind of mid.
Yeah, it's Ned's child. Persian has been on every single team Ned has made. I think in the past we've seen it be a lot more pivotal.
Yeah.
Whereas this season
6, it played every game, and this time it kind of took a backseat.
Well, I don't even think it didn't try to. It came to 6 out of 8 games, but in the games that it came to, I don't think that it needed to be there as much. Like Jolteon did a lot of the same stuff that it usually does, where it's like a very fast, disruptive Pokemon. And like it's not like Ned needed the fake out, right? Like Blastoise was there for that.
Already a good amount of pivoting and everything, and it's not like this team was like super frail that you needed the parting shot to like survive things as much. Like Sinistcha was healing itself back up anyway, and I mean Garganacl had some recover in there, so I don't feel like Persian was especially important this season, which is fine. We have other C tiers for that.
Yeah, Ned got good use out of I mean honestly even Noivern, like
yeah, no, it was good a couple
times.
Tailwinds,
did some good speed control. Reverum, not so much. Like it actually has it's one of 2 Pokemon here with a flawless win rate, but I don't remember what it did, and I think it probably just died. Something else won the game.
I'm pretty sure it got one tapped and it did nothing.
Yeah, so good for it. It's on the flawless win rate board.
Bro thinks he's on the team.
Yeah, overall good season from Ned. Their playoffs start next week. Who is their first matchup?
They are playing OJ.
Okay, cool.
So
well, I'm looking forward to see how that goes. Yeah. But right now we're just gonna have to sit and wait.
Ned has to fight Annihilate in playoffs again.
Yeah, that's
this time with no rats, but that's okay. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Feeling.
I think that's about it for this team. We can move on to it's you.
It's me.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm fine. Okay. Thanks for asking. I did not make playoffs. This is not the only time I've not made playoffs, but I'm a little bummed about it. At the same time, I'm going to enjoy not having to team build for the next few weeks.
Welcome to the commentator's booth full time.
Full time, yeah. I think that like I'm pretty okay with how everybody on this team did except for Kiram. Like I've voiced my distaste for it. Like I can walk away
him as flop.
I did actively push for Misflop, and it looks like it's gonna win that. Well, I guess it already did win that.
It did win that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. Like it was really disappointing as a Pokemon. It was like week 2, maybe week 1. I forget which week it was that I realized it didn't get Icicle Crash, and I was so
You didn't know
I
that
was just
before
so
drafting
broken.
it?
No, I didn't know that before drafting it.
Bruh.
What? Who in their right mind didn't give this thing Icicle Crash?
Dude, I don't
And
even
like,
think
how was it scary before loaded dice? That's my other question.
it wasn't. That's the neat part.
Yeah, I don't know. People used it in TDD before loaded dice, and I don't remember it being that ass. But
Dude,
like,
it was legal in Gen 5 OU because it had 3 physical attacks.
I wasn't even alive then.
I think you were.
Nope.
Okay.
Goldango is, I mean, he's Goldango. Like this is Joe right here.
Yeah. I feel like
I got
Goldango's
an ace
always,
with him.
I feel
this
like he's
season,
always
that
going to
type.
be one of the first Pokemon to go on a draft, just because he's just that guy.
He's super unique.
Yeah.
I was really happy with him. Like I don't think I really like flexed too much funny stuff with him this season. Like I ran a lot of the like nasty plot, Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Protect sets. But I mean that's what I needed him to do. I think overall, if we're trying to like not just talk about specific Pokemon, my team struggled. I feel like my team struggled because it didn't have the best speed tier overall, but also a lot of the Pokemon on this team wanted to set up, and I just didn't have. I don't know if I had enough support for like all of them to do that. Like Blastoise was sitting there; it could probably help one Pokemon set up, but then it's dead.
Yeah, and Arcanine could help like
with
the Intimidate, but I feel like even if you did get set up, it was only a matter of time before you got slowed down. But I really do feel like the speed tier was nuclear. Like with the exception of the 2 speed controllers of Iron Jugulis and Ribombee, literally everything is in the 75 to 95 speed bracket, which is kind of like the worst speed bracket.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean when I drafted the team, like I was fully aware of the speed tiers. I had assumed that I would have a better time setting Tailwind up or Sticky Webs.
Yeah.
And like I just was hoping that I could have Tailwind up at all times. But honestly, I think the frailty of my 2 Tailwind setters meant that wasn't the case, especially when I was kind of encouraged to lead them both times.
Yeah.
Or both in both cases rather.
Yeah.
Or not Blastoise. Mega Venusaur I was really happy with as well. It kind of just sat there and lived a lot of the time.
That's his favorite trick.
Oh, and then Gallade. Talk about Gallade.
Lamau. Yeah, I mean, Gallade was fun. It did damage to compensate for Kyurem Black being an absolute bum this season, which is nice, but it also had Gallade's one of those like high investment Pokemon that I feel like if you can get it off the ground, either give it the speed control or give it the room to click its buttons, its move pool is ridiculous, its damage output is ridiculous. The problem is it falls over in one physical hit, and it's not very fast. So if you can get it set up, it's really good, and I think you managed to get it, off the ground and in a good position a good number of times.
I had ample support for it between like certain weeks. I had Sticky Webs that let it kind of ignore its crappy speed stat. Follow Me was used a couple times. I don't remember if I scarfed it, but I do think Gallade Scarf is pretty nutty.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah, I think overall that's probably my opinion on the team. It was fun to play around, especially when I stopped bringing Kyurem, and I think if I had, instead of drafting Kyurem, drafted something like we talked about Roaring Moon being cool.
I pushed for it. Oop.
You did, yeah, and I think in that world I would not have had Jug. I would have picked something else, but something just naturally faster would have been really good for the team, and something that like booster energy doesn't really require much time to set up, so it can just kind of come online.
Yeah, for sure. I think I heard someone mention Tapu Koko as an option as well for that team as like a fast option, electric terrain setup Jug, so I'm sure there were options, but yeah, I feel like Kyurem Black is still potentially a decent Pokemon. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it's bad or anything. I feel like it just really didn't fit this team, and it was too easy to just like click a rock move or click close combat, and then it fell over instantly,
Yeah.
So,
I think I made myself pretty clear on my opinion of it.
I think it could find a home, but this was not its home.
That's okay.
That's okay. All right, next team?
Yeah, we got Math Geek.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's Matt. That's the Qrillionaires. We've got the other dedicated rain team this time around.
Other dedicated weather.
Sorry,
But
yeah,
yeah.
other dedicated weather team. Second rain team. We haven't talked about. I guess first rain team. We haven't talked about the other one. Anyway, tell me about
this season, it was fine.
Mhm.
Math Geek had a couple, like he had an early win against Amaryllis, which ended up being pretty pivotal. Like that, I think ended up being like that denied Amaryllis a playoff spot. Struggled, I think, early on. Besides that, to really make some moves, and I mean, they talked about having less time on their hands to prep. We kind of saw that come out, like it manifested in things like
the Keen Eye Pelipper.
Yeah, Keen Eye Pelipper.
Yeah, I think that week was like especially bad in terms of prep time, which is like that's just it's life. It happens. Sometimes you just miss the ability. It's like
Yeah, I think on the other like we saw a lot of the same pitfalls that Math has seen in the past, and I would like to see him sort of grow past this as a player. But when it comes to the draft, there is a lot of redundancy in the C tier, and somehow like none of it fit the team super well. Like we talked about the shared weaknesses in the overview, and we saw those come a lot of the weeks. Like Freeze Dry was run several times into Math. Thunderbolt, like all of these things you could say, like sure, it's a rain team, it's going to have these weaknesses, but there are quite a few Pokemon I think could have been slotted in here.
Yeah, there's no Lightning Rod. There's, and you were like defensively, your options for a lot of like problematic type matchups were like Ferroseed and Bisharp, and Ferroseed is a Pokemon.
And Bisharp was kind of left on the bench, I think, too often. I would like to have seen it come a lot more, but
yeah, I mean, I don't love Bisharp in general as like the one bastion against many scary type matchups, but at the same time, if that's what you have, you kind of have to bring it. But yeah, I feel like the C tier was just a little bit tough this season. Smeargle did some Smeargle things, and that was kind of about it, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's his mascot, so I was expecting Smeargle to be here. I think Staraptor was probably the one that was like, you have two other birds that are guaranteed rings.
The humble bird. Yeah, I think Smeargle was pretty good. Beyond that, I think, yeah, some redundancy. Mega Swampert's just the GOAT on rain teams. Such a strong B tier and continues to prove it on this team as well. I don't think Math ran a ton of like liquidation on it. I think it was a lot of like superpower and coverage moves, which was interesting, but it did pretty well.
Ogerpon was a little bit disappointing. I think this is a really decent Pokemon, I think, and I do like it on a rain team.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting pickup. I mean, we talked about it pre-season when he was debating what to draft, but I don't really know. I think it was good game. I remember it being good game one, and then after that, it felt like it just kind of struggled a little bit. But
yeah,
I don't really know. But
I think like notes for the future. I think you've had a couple seasons now where you maybe have just had other life stuff come up and found it difficult to prep. I think just draft into that. Draft Pokemon that can run one set and do it well, and then just bring that, see how you do.
That's my favorite trick, is never click a different button and just bring it every week, and sometimes it works out. Yeah, sometimes it's too easy to overcomplicate sets, and it's just like, stop that. Bring the most basic thing you can and click the good buttons.
Yeah.
So, that's all.
But yeah, I we had some good plays. We had I guess we should mention we had like the ace come out from Urshifu.
Yeah,
like, that's
I
always fun
didn't
to
even
see.
get to that. I mean, that saved Urshifu from a kind of unfortunate KD. So
yeah, it would have been 3-3 without that, which it's not awful, but
yeah, but it's
9-3 looks much better on paper, and we can ignore that the ace had some cold weather come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you got put in the cube.
Yeah. Also, Zapdos. Oh, quick shout out. Zapdos was pretty good this season as well. I feel like it's also like it's Zapdos. It's consistent. It just does Zapdos things. That's how it is, So
yeah.
I actually liked Math's use of Weather Ball in particular this season. I thought using Weather Ball and like weather balling people trying to set the weather against him also ended up being pretty good. So I think that's worth of a shout out. Specifically the use of that move. But
sure, certainly.
Yeah, but I think that's it, so we can move on to the next team.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next team is going to be Whiskey's crew by Whiskey, and oh god, what happened?
Whiskey popped off. I think Whiskey had like week 1 where he was still in hibernation, and then Ursaluna stood up, stretched its arms, and started killing
and then
things.
killed 5.
And then killed 5, yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those teams where on like the draft page, you're like, who let this happen?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I think our analysis during the overview, I think, was essentially like, this is a really strong team, but it has a lot of pivoting, and you have to play it well for it to work. And then he
Then he
played it
did,
really
yeah.
well.
Yeah, I think Amoonguss, Incineroar, and Frigdraff were all positioned really, really
Yeah.
well this season. Incineroar had some surprises too. It wasn't just like a fake out parting shot, pivot bot. It like did banded things,
It was a lot more damage focused, which got some useful damage on the board and eliminated some threats as well. But
I think it just caught people off guard.
yeah, I mean, you kind of expect Incineroar is one of the most like fake out parting shot Flare Blitz knockoff, maybe a Will-O-Wisp in there, and then oops, it's banded.
Right.
So
I'm really happy. I'm really proud of him. We've had seasons in the past where we felt like he had strong teams that like on paper would look really good, but he would flub it. But this season he did not. Like he broke the record for kills in a single season. He went 7-1, only losing week 1. So that is including, I guess he didn't play friend ball, so he had 7 consecutive wins.
yeah,
which is impressive.
For sure. I think Frigdraff was such a utility for this team. And in general, I saw so many like good protects and ally switches and just like good like positioning and posturing. Multiple games where he got multiple Trick Rooms with Hatterene as backup. Multiple games where he just had one Trick Room and it just didn't matter because one Trick Room was too much,
Yeah, I think that's a testament to how well he used the Trick Room turns.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We've seen players in the past fail to do this, but once you stack Trick Room, most times, unless you're running like Stack Attacka or like, Calyrex Ice Rider, which we don't allow, like you can't just set the Trick Room and then keep like stay in and keep killing things. Like we saw Whiskey do things like he would pivot in Ursaluna on the first turn of Trick Room, or even like at the same time it's set up, he would sack things. Like we saw like an Articuno get sacked at the same time Trick Room went up. And I think some of this is also on the opponent. Like I would say like Quick Ball in general was a bit slow to adapt to the Trick Room play that we saw from Whiskey. We had multiple weeks where he sort of got it up for free because, once it went down, the opponent would like target Ursaluna as Ursaluna predictably protects, and then the sort of board state is reset right back by Frigdraff. So I think eventually the league kind of caught on to it, but it might have been a little bit too late by that point. We also only saw one person, to my knowledge, run room service, which I think
that was
such a
week
good
9
item.
Akurari, right?
Yeah, it's such a good item into Trick Room, and looking at this team that's going to come. So I would have liked to see more of that. And maybe we will in playoffs. We'll see.
Yeah, just general more prep around Trick Room, but yeah.
He's week 1 against Meteor Bauer, a 2-time champ.
That is scary, but I mean, this is a strong team, and that team has a lot of priority on it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. We'll see how that goes.
I'm
I
excited.
think as far as like the draft strength, besides like the ones we talked about, we did see some holes in that. I think like Togedemaru never came to a match. It was very much eclipsed by Mega Ampharos, which was the last draft on this team.
Which was
Magius,
cracked.
Yeah, Mega Ampharos was cracked. We've seen it be cracked before, so it's not really surprising. I'm going to take some credit for recommending it to him because I knew it was going to be cracked, and it was cracked. This Magius, I also recommended, and he can say that was a bad call because it was.
What
I think
does
this
it even
Pokemon
do?
It's good, but like I wanted him to have some
105 special attack and speed.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's a choice item user. Specs or Scarf.
All right,
but it's fine. The Gyarados was probably also maybe the most underwhelming of the high tiers. Like it
it did okay.
But you have Incineroar. We only saw it come to 3 of the matches, and one of those was also like the loss in the very first week. I would have probably. I think this team could be even stronger if Gyarados was something else. Like one Pokemon that I like a lot in my head is Quaquaval. Shares the Water type. It even shares Moxie if he wants to have a sweeper. but it's faster. It has like setups in its moves a lot better than Gyarados does, and I think typing wise, it's probably just a little better.
Yeah, I pushed for Zapdos Galar on this team so hard. I tried. Just 'cause
Yeah,
I think,
we both did.
yeah, having the one fast guy just to ruin people's days would have been nice. But ultimately, even without Gyarados, this team was still, you know, a complete menace. So fair enough, man. It's a good day to not be fighting this team. Oh my god.
Yep. So good luck to Meteor coming into playoffs against Whiskey. Good luck to Whiskey against Meteor. I think one thing to look ahead for is that this team has put a lot of its offensive pressure, a lot of its offensive carrying rather, on both Mega Ampharos and Ursaluna. And so if those get taken out, I would like to see where the offense will come from. Because Hatterene is something that is very offensive, but really wasn't used to that
A little
form,
bit. You're forgetting about the choice band Incineroar.
I guess. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, on
right.
to the next one then.
Yeah, we have
Well,
back-to-back.
hopefully the next team will be... Oh, never mind. The next team is also great.
Yeah, we back-to-back have to talk about both of our 7-1 teams. Here we have Burnt, who is top of Timer Ball, 7-1 record. Also lost their first match and then proceeded to win the next 7.
Yeah, so kind of a similar run, and of course Burnt first season in Timer Ball, and a good decision to put him there.
Yeah, I think so. Really just a very cracked team. We joked a little bit about Timer Ball kind of being ill prepared on the draft page when it comes to countering Psychic Terrain, and we had 2 Psychic Terrain teams do very well this season, so I think that all adds up. But that's not to undercut the performance Burnt has had. Like, we saw just very creative team building. A lot of it was built around setting up the Armor Rouge, which was fun to see. This Pokemon has never been drafted before, so to have it come in and get 17 kills, mostly off of weakness policy, weak armor stuff, was fun.
Yeah, but, absolutely. I think Spectreer's role in this team is so fascinating.
Yeah, I think it did really sort of expand my I don't know what the right word would be.
Understanding.
But yeah, my understanding of what Spectreer can do, and I think it mirrors what Iron Valiant has done in VGC a lot, where it's like this Pokemon with a decent supportive move pool and a lot of speed, and you can just take advantage of that, and he's done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think it would work much worse on other teams. Like it's sort of purpose built for this team supportively.
Yeah, I think it has some things that he didn't end up using, but ultimately, like, it was just like being able to be so fast and just get that thing online instantly was so strong. And I think the pairing with Armor Rouge was such a surprise in terms of how well it worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like you mentioned, real quick,
yeah, go ahead.
Just what you said about a lot of teams being not super prepared to deal with Psychic Terrain due to the lack of, the dark typing. Spectre also takes advantage of that, and I think it was pretty hard to stop it when it did decide to actually, start taking kills itself. So,
yeah, I think you quoted this in Timer Ball. I think the highest dark type, aside from the Urshifu that we're looking at right now, is a B tier, right?
Meowscarada for 1 turn.
Okay, sorry. Meowscarada is sitting there in A. But other than that,
and then it's like Iron Jugulus.
Yeah, Iron Jugulus, Silvally Dark.
Great.
So,
but yeah. Anyway, you were saying about Indeedee.
Oh, it's a war crime. Ban this Pokemon.
Who gave it Trick Room?
We know who it was. It was the intern at Game Freak.
Yeah, but no, I think Urshifu honestly didn't do a ton this season, and honestly, that's because it did not have to.
No, I think there were multiple matches where Urshifu never showed its face. It didn't have to come out of the back because the sweep just happened before it needed to.
No, genuinely. Like, that's kind of what I ended up doing with it. Just, I found useful from it in Gym Challenge, was just leave it in the back as, like, raid boss Urshifu. And Burnt kind of did a similar thing here a lot of the time, except, we never got to the final phase, so...
Yeah.
And it did, like, end up endgaming a couple times and, like, cleaning up some things or getting some kills that ended up being really valuable. But I definitely think we'll be seeing more of Urshifu as we get into playoffs.
I'm not sure what we'll see going into playoffs. Like, he's kind of proven that his standard, like, very offensive I don't know if hyper offense is the right term for this, but his very offensive Psychic Terrain team can kind of clear Timer Ball, and I think that that's pretty powerful. We've seen multiple speed control modes from him, so again, I just don't know what we'll see going into playoffs. I'm very curious, and he has the bye, so we won't see that until 2 weeks from now in semifinals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, especially in the best of 3 format with one team, since he'll have to choose one to stick with. I think we'll have to see how he adapts to that format. I mean, actually hasn't played the format before. No, he has in Season 7.
No, he was
okay,
here
yeah.
last.
I forgot about it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he picks for those best of 3 matches. Real quick shout out before we go, Pheasantipity was pretty funny this season. I don't think it had been drafted before, right?
It had not.
Okay.
I don't remember what it did too much aside from the scarf set that it ran one time.
Yeah, there was a couple things, but
it showed up
it's
other
just
times.
Cool to see it drafted, and in general, this team had a lot more than just the Armor Rouge and Spectrier stuff, so yeah, frightening stuff.
Very, very scary.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's move on then.
All right, this is Hamster's team. This is Team Fourgeist.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much of a way to sugarcoat this. Like, this is probably Hamster's worst season, and he knows that. I will say it's like very much not all on his shoulders. There were quite a few Witch's Curse moments that Hamster had to endure this season, and I think that a lot of them were like not just egregious in their own right, but they were like, we're gonna kick you when you're down moments, you know?
Yeah, there were multiple cases where it's just like, it was just like particularly terrible, you know, between like random misses and heat wave double miss and flinches and stuff. Like, I can look at most of these games and see something unfortunate. I can remember like something unfortunate that happened. So, you know, I don't feel like it's very representative of Hamster's abilities because, you know,
I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone looks at this.
No, yeah, he's absolutely terrifying as a player. And honestly, some of these, like, there's a lot of very close games in here that he made very close, despite, you know, like, just the nightmare RNG in a lot of these cases.
He also, like, I mean, on paper, he just didn't, I don't think he drafted, like, the standard busted team that he has drafted in the past. Like, and he didn't mean that on purpose. Yeah. But like, even given that, I really liked Genesect's usage this season. I think I liked it better than the last season that it was used, and the last season I felt it was more purpose built around Genesect.
Yeah, with the double follow me, I think it was.
Yeah, this season, like, Genesect kind of just came in. It was sort of its own Pokemon. It did download things and it killed things.
Yeah, for sure.
Mega Gardevoir was pretty scary.
A lot of resources put into the Gardevoir in particular, I think. Between like setting up Tailwinds and Psychic Terrains for it to just like go off. So it like, especially early on, it was always getting 2 pretty much, which is, you know, pretty nice trade.
Vivillon was just in my opinion a little bit of a liability. I don't know how many times he would run the Sleep Powder set, but in my head, that's all that this Pokemon is good for.
Doesn't it get Friend Guard?
If it does, then yeah, I mean it does. But if you ran it, then I don't remember too many matches where I felt it was relevant.
I mean, the thing is, since it's Friend Guard Follow Me, a lot of the time, or you know, Rage Powder, a lot of the time you're redirecting attacks that would otherwise have their damage reduced. So a lot of the time it doesn't come up as much as it seems like it would on paper. But you know, yeah, Vivillon was a little unfortunate, but I like the Arcanine here. Mamoswine, I need this Pokemon to pop off, man. I gotta see it.
Yeah, I like Mamoswine as well. I would like. I mean, yeah. It did funny things in Friend Ball.
It did. It was phenomenal in Friend Ball. That's my Calyrex Ice Rider. We actually did legalize it in TDD.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Meowstic I think dropped to C. Was Meowstic in C tier this season or the one before? I don't remember.
It was last season, I believe.
Okay.
But it used to be B. It probably still could be B. It's a good Pokemon, but
for sure.
Yeah, it was used well. I think it mostly just kind of it did its screens thing. I think it set Psychic Terrain up. He might have ran Psychic Terrain twice at least.
Yeah, it was just a lot of Gardevoir setup and some other utility. So it was pretty good this season too. But
what's funny to me is that when Hamster was prepping for Ned a long time ago, he messaged me and was like, I'm thinking about Psychic Terrain. I think Ned's team doesn't handle it very well, and I'm looking at my team like, yeah, neither does my team, and then we further realize that neither does any of Timer Ball.
Thankfully, and both Psychic Terrain centers got drafted this season, so, you know.
Yeah.
And
in Timer
Omen.
Ball.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But, yeah.
But yeah, we can probably move on. I think it's been a rough season, but I think Hamster sort of made the best of what he had. He got a lot of kills.
For sure.
He hopefully got some of his inner desire to use Vivillon out of his system.
Yeah, for sure. And he also set off the great physical fire type B tier sniping, which still one of my favorite parts of this season, to be honest.
I thought Entei set that off. I'm pretty sure.
Entei did set it off. I just know like there were like 3 people who wanted Arcanine Hisui in particular, so something like that. But yeah. Anyway, I guess we can move on to the next team then.
Yep.
And that next team is gonna be Delfino by Meteor Bower. Yeah, that's our another playoffs making team this time around out of Timer, and that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, Steven had a really solid start to the season that I think dipped a little bit towards the middle, but he did well enough early on that dip didn't cost him a playoff spot. He eked it out at the very end. He beat me by 1 diff. Sag.
Wow.
I mean, he also had the head-to-head matchup over me, so it would not have
so
mattered if we tied on diff. But
okay.
Yeah. Still.
This was Palafin's first season.
Yeah, it was Palafin's first season. I want to say it was Volcarona's first season in a while, but I
probably.
I don't know. I can look at that.
Yeah.
Either way, I think both of them did all right.
Yeah, I feel like Palafin put a lot of... Palafin's one of those Pokemon that, like, I feel like it put a lot more pressure out than the damage it actually did. Like, Palafin just kind of sitting on the field hurt, like, it caused a lot of switches and plays that I think Meteor took advantage of, but it didn't necessarily get a lot of final blows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was also, like, we didn't see it in rain too often, and I think that, like, it traditionally has used rain very well to sort of give that extra oomph to its to its wall breaking power. By the way, I did check. Volcarona it was technically drafted in season 3, but that was on Wobble's team. So
okay.
The last time we actually saw it was in season 2.
That's surprising. This thing's so strong.
The Volcarona.
The crazy thing is, Volcarona was actually a snipe. Someone else wanted it this season too, so that's kind of funny.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have Iron Hands, who is
the devil.
I mean, I don't think anyone was surprised to see this thing go crazy. Like, it's such an insanely broken Pokemon from a stats perspective, and then also it just got good moves.
Yeah. Who gave it fake out?
It's funny to me how often I saw this thing running Thunder Punch, which is funny, like, because it just says that Steven doesn't want to take recoil on it. Because, like, Wild Charge is just better if you don't care about the recharge or the recoil.
Yeah, absolutely. But that thing was strong. Real talk, Iron Hands is the second strongest Iron Defense body presser in Pokemon. Just period. After Zamazenta.
Why? Just because of the other fighting types not having good defense stats?
No other Pokemon has no other fighting type has a defense stat to get as strong of body presses than this thing.
If you like calculated the mathematics of like Shuckle's body press over it, like...
Yeah, it hits, to my understanding, it hits harder.
It's funny.
Like than other Pokemon that actually get body press, right? But
I don't know if Shuckle gets it. I forget.
I don't think Shuckle gets it. I think Shuckle would be much scarier if it got it. But anyway, we'll get to Shuckle. But yeah, I guess dipping down into B and C tier, we saw. I feel like Caesar was pretty solid this season.
Yeah, I was super happy with Caesar's performance. Like, it is my favorite Pokemon, like, bar none. And so I'm always happy to see it pop off. And we saw that. Like, I don't think it did like as much setup as like the Megazord that we saw from Amaryllis also in this season, but it just did a lot more.
It just hit people.
Come in and hit
bullet
things.
Punch.
Bullet punch, U-turn. Did we see it run like weird coverage as well? Like, I think it was a wild card nom, but I kind of forget.
I think so.
What reason.
It did a couple things, but part of it was also just it was kind of annoying. We saw this with the other Caesar too. It was kind of annoying to remove, especially alongside the Politoed.
Yeah.
And I think Politoed was such an interesting pick.
It was his last pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, curious to see how that panned out. Like, we didn't see rain every week, even though this thing came to 5 matches. It ran, what was it, Water Absorb at least once.
I think so. Something like that.
Magneton also kind of a standout. Archeops a standout. Weirdeer
Was here.
No, I liked Weirder's usage.
That's fair. It was good. It was good a couple times. So, is it weird to say that Fourgeist was the weakest C tier here? Because Fourgeist is like a historically very strong C tier, right?
I wouldn't even say it was weak here. Like, it did.
No,
it did
I'm
well.
not saying it's bad. I feel like it was just like it didn't get the chance to do as much as the
if
others.
you want to say that.
That's what I mean. Like, I think it was the weakest of the 4 in terms of what it did, because the other 3 were just ridiculous.
Yeah, Archeops came to a lot of games, and I think it got just like more value than I expected it to.
Yeah, a lot of tailwinds and a lot of damage. Weirder got some nice setup stuff. Magneton won a game by itself pretty much. So, yeah, this C tier did not seem as strong on paper, but in practice, they just kind of filled the roles he needed really well.
Yeah. This team, I think, overall relied on a lot of priority as well.
Yeah.
We saw that to like some varying success. Like, there were 2 Psychic Terrain teams on this on the field here. We had a Serena from Peanut, so there was a little bit of like pre-built priority handling on this on the timer ball side of things, but it did okay.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, both Psychic Terrain teams and Fourgeist all made playoffs, so that problem will not go away.
Yep, and week 1 is the Fourgeist. So.
Yep. So, you know, best of luck, but this team was really strong. He played it really well. I don't have much else to say other than that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Let's do it. On to this is Sucrêve. This is Amaryllis's first season with us here. Pretty successful one. There's the Mega Caesar we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, this team, like, so I think the background context for this is that, like, Amaryllis is not new to Pokemon, but she is new to doubles.
Yeah, and she's, like, from my understanding, is, like, very good at singles.
Yeah. So when we were introduced, we were, you know, we were a little worried putting her in Quick, because we've seen times in the past where like Quick Ball players just kind of took over, but I think this proved to be like a really good place for her to explore the doubles format. She took it to it really quickly. We saw quite a lot of, I think as far as like more traditional double strats go, like she really focused a lot on the setup side of things, like having things like Alchemy, things like Sableye, Iron Leaves, all just sort of, yeah, all of these things just empower the Dragapult, the Darkrai, the Scizor, the Entei.
The Entei especially. That thing got so many boosts this season.
Yeah, and it got a lot of boosts from things that weren't it. Like Scizor boosted a lot, but it boosted itself. Whereas Entei was like taking Koshins left and right.
It also I remember it ran Trailblaze once for its own set. We also saw a lot of gravity setups for the Darkrai Dark Void, which I think helped early on in particular. In a couple cases. It was hard to
feel like they came a lot early, and then sort of served as a threat for the rest of the league or the rest of the season, which is nice. I think that's kind of cool. Like if you have a lot of ways to win the game and you show off one early in your season really hard, you're sort of scaring the next few weeks of opponents to consider that one, and maybe even disproportionately so, and then they prep less for the other win cons that you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Just metagaming type thing. But overall, like Amaryllis played to their strengths really well. We had some C tier usage that I think was decent, like mostly off of Alchemy. The Lantern, I don't remember what it did. I was surprised.
It was the Yachi Berry set.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that like it was
fun.
Weird to me to not see the Lantern come during the Rain team match, but it came eventually and it won the match, so can't complain.
Yeah. I mean, not a C tier, but oh my god, Iron Leaves.
Yeah, Iron Leaves probably
was
Pokemon. One of the standout like surprises of the season for me. I think all of like the DLC future Pokemon felt very underwhelming on paper, and this Pokemon was probably the worst of them in my head.
Yeah, on paper it seems like
so
the
much.
worst one, but no, it's interesting because the support move pool is like really weirdly niche, but just the like it's the same thing you said about Spectrier and Iron Valiant, right? Where just fast, useful utility, which same as Iron Valiant, coaching in this case, alongside, Quick Guard and some other stuff, gave this thing a lot more value than I think people were ready to see on a non-electric terrain team, which really, really fun. So I was so excited to see this thing drafted, and I'm so happy it did well this season.
You know what? If Iron Leaves is no longer the worst one, we can say like pretty certainly that Iron Polder is, which is funny because it was originally A tier.
They're fighting for it. I mean, it's definitely not crowned, so I guess by extension. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Iron Leaves is like a niche support Pokemon because it really has like a couple good tricks, I feel like. But
I mean, I think it did the same thing as my Screamtail did last season. It was booster energy speed, doing things disruptively that
yeah.
Fit really well with the team.
Yeah, it was like a little bit like, I guess, less Disruptor, more like gravity to boost accuracy.
Yeah,
and
more
coaching.
Cleric-y, more like Comrade-y as far as
For
our
sure.
award terms than Disruptor. But
still very good, and in general, this team was really good, and just leaning into so many double strats while not being super familiar with the format. There's a lot of potential here in, with this player, I mean, right? Like, I'm very excited to see what she does next season, or just in, off season especially. Like, there's a lot that could happen here.
For my notes for like where to improve next, since and these aren't things that are like these aren't necessarily weaknesses rather, but just since I feel like you've gotten a very good grasp on the setup side of doubles, I would like to see focusing on pivoting. Like, these aren't things that I think you did very poorly in or by any means, but just for focusing, pivots and trying to win the game first, like by positioning, which is funny because I think that's kind of like how I envision singles to basically be. I don't play singles, that could be completely wrong, but
I mean, you switch more in singles, I think, because the risk to switching is lower, because you're not going to get like, doubled up into, if that makes sense. So that makes sense. But
yeah, I'm just trying to find something here. I don't really have too many like constructive notes to say because there were just a lot of good play already.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think she already mentioned like next season wanting to draft like a more standardized defensive core. So I'm definitely excited to see what she cooks up for future events. But on to the next one.
Yep, on to Stormy here.
All right, this is Taxpayers, Stormy's team here. Yeah, I mean, this was a little bit tough. My understanding of it was that Stormy was taking it a little bit easier and just trying to be a little bit more chill about the whole thing in general.
Yeah, I think the record does not look good on paper. And I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I think that like the team was a little bit difficult to pilot. There were a lot of I think like mystery box sets that some of these Pokemon can run. Like Iron Valiant has just an insane move pool. Jirachi does to a similar extent, where it sort of falls into the same two things, like it's going to set itself up or it's going to click follow me. So I wonder if they maybe got trapped a little bit in the set building of it all. So maybe a similar piece of advice as I gave to Math Geek, where if you're coming back for future seasons, maybe just try to focus on Pokemon that are very bread and butter standard sets, where you can kind of try to hone some of the fundamentals without worrying too much about the team building side.
Yeah, for sure. I think in general, like I think the team here is like not too bad. It was just like there was a lot going on and a lot to pilot, and ultimately, it's a little tough. Shout out to Pincurchin though, my goat.
Yeah, Pincurchin did pretty well. I think it's funny, like Pincurchin was here to set the Valiant up, and it ended up getting more kills than the Valiant, which is kind of like that. That's shocking, actually. I think Valiant could have done better as far as running like the sets that it ran. We didn't see too many just click the button sets on Valiant, and I don't know. There's some other Pokemon here that I think probably could have been left on the bench. Like I don't see why Zygarde is on this team. I don't know what Zygarde does in any team, actually. I don't think it's a good Pokemon.
I feel like it's like like something you like follow me spam, set it up with like coils or dragon dances and try to go off with that, but the attack stat is a little hard to overcome. But
yeah, I feel like almost every week rather have seen like Ambipom, and just Ambipom clicks Fake Out, and that's
a good trick.
That's your support right there.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah, not too much else to say on it. I do like the pairing of Pincurchin and Iron Valley in particular. A lot of the future paradoxes are weak to ground, so pairing up Pincurchin with one that isn't, which, you know, it's like mainly that Iron Bundle and I guess Jugulus as well. So I like that pairing. I think that's something that could be explored in the future by anyone. So I think that's fun.
True.
But yeah, I think that's it for this team unless you got anything else.
No, not really.
Okay.
I think we can probably move on.
Yeah, sounds good. Next up, we've got PokéParty. This is Plastic's team. I think you said it pretty well, but Plastic was like the most unknown factor to me going into this season.
Yeah, I think to all of us, and maybe even to him himself, like, we weren't sure how he would perform. We weren't sure what type of playstyle he would sort of gravitate towards. And I think he had a really good season. This was his first foray into competitive Pokemon, and ended up going 3-5. Just like Stone, actually, they had the same record. All three of our new players had pretty good records, all things considered. And this was the one team that on our overview we did a little bit of critiquing for, and just were saying that some of the drafting was redundant. But I think he might have proved us wrong to an extent. I felt like this team felt cohesive at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how good everything felt together. Like, at the end of the day, there were situations where it's like, you know, okay, I guess you don't really bring Porygon here because you have Cresselia, or, you know, maybe you don't bring this. But ultimately, there was enough decent stuff in the C tier and just a lot of good stuff going on rounds that was really impressive. So I think the team fit together a lot better than I anticipated. And part of that was just Plastic mysteriously picking up the concept of speed control to such a high level, ridiculously fast.
I think he's born with it.
Yeah,
I think he just knows.
He just knows. But
yeah,
I
think even from week 1, he played that well. Like he ran Tailwind and Trick Room in the same week. Not just on the same,
like draft,
just, like throughout the season.
Same, like it clicked both in the same match. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like just bringing that on the team building page is in its own way like impressive, and then doing it well in the match is also impressive. So props there. We saw a lot of really good play from Cresselia. Between like it got a lot of kills in its own right. It clicked Lunar Blessing quite a lot.
Kill leader Cresselia is a mysterious sight.
Yeah, I would have to run through the scraper to see like quite literally how much this Pokemon recovered or like sustained through. Because I don't remember, it wasn't like a wall breaker. Like it must, to me, that kind of kills down Cresselia just means that it lasted. Like it sort of withstood the offense of the opponent and whittled them down.
Yeah.
But we had some good standout like plays in addition to just like the team doing well overall. Like we saw some, like as far back as week 1, like we saw Cradily pop off. We had Durant have several moments where it was kind of hype.
Substitute
even
Porygon as well.
Yeah, substitute Porygon to go around the Dark Void was really ingenious. We saw Slaking get some support and pop off. Like, I think the first time Slaking arrived in a match, there was a bit of disappointment from him because he was not aware that certain abilities don't override Truant.
Yeah.
But eventually we got there, and Slaking had Levitate and then killed its entire team along with the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
A lot of things like that, and then the power of Cradily as well did a lot, which was
give this thing power gem.
Yeah, but no, I feel like this team felt pretty good. I don't have a lot of complaints. Ogerpon too. Like this was a pretty well utilized Ogerpon, which is pretty impressive because Ogerpon is a very versatile Pokemon that can do a lot, and it didn't feel super pigeonholed this season either.
I would say, like, in terms of our Ogerpon, this probably was our second best this season. We had all 4 drafted.
All in Quick Ball.
All in Quick Ball. So I feel bad for, like, the 4 Quick Ballers who didn't have an Ogerpon that had to play Ogerpon 4 times.
Play Ogerpon, like, every week, yeah. But
do we have any Ogerpons in playoffs? I don't think we do. No, we do. OJ's.
Yeah, OJ has it. So...
Okay, so one made it
holding
through.
down the fort. But...
Yeah.
We'll get there.
And, so I think on my notes here, for one... small like critique here, I think that the Latios at the end of the day probably would have been like, we did talk about the redundancy in typings. I think the Latios didn't seem to service the team as much as it needed to with like the wall breaking, and I think that this team could have even had like something bulkier. Like in my notes, I have like Goodra, Hisuian Goodra, which I know you don't like that Pokemon, but like just looking at like keeping the Dragon type, getting the Steel type. This team has outside of Durant no Steel type.
Yeah. And
ground
Durant's
weakness.
not a traditional Steel type in that sense because it has like Force Spadef. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I do like that. Like, there's a list of Pokemon that I'm a hater of. No, I don't think Goodra Hisui is like terrible or anything. And I think there are teams where like it feels like Corviknight, where it's like sometimes you just need a really bulky Steel type. So that's
No, you're so right. We should have Corviknight on here. Keep the ground immunity.
we need another one actually.
Just replace Latios. Not another one. It's just the same amount.
No, you're right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
really, really good season. I hope that Plastic comes back for an off-season event or for season 9 if we have that. It's up in the air,
Yeah,
as it
for
always
sure.
is. But
I think
yeah,
that's it
really,
for this
really
team.
good to see him grow throughout the season. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next team. This is Hoser's team. This is Diaper Offense. Our other quick ball promotion of the season, our other Psychic Terrain team of the season, and another team going to playoffs as well. I think this is the last Timer Ball team going to playoffs to talk about here. So I mean, it was a pretty strong team. It was very solid. Kind of not how I expected this team to pan out looking at it on the draft, you know? Kind of expect Sneasler to be a DPS close combat Dire Claw Sleep Something GG Shake My Hand Pokemon. And it was like low sweep and toxic spikes.
Yeah, it fell into a supportive role pretty early on, and I think it kind of just stayed there.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't bad. The spikes were useful, and I mean, I don't know where Tapu Lele got 15 kills from, because that thing was not on my radar as a kill leader, but it jumped up there for sure.
It was a lot towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I think steadily throughout, right? Like
No,
it got
it was usually getting at least one, but it got 3 in one game, some other stuff, so.
Yeah, it also kind of just played cleanup a lot of the time. Like I think there might have been a couple games where it led, but I remember it cleaning up a lot more. And I think that's that's also back on the Sneasler. Like we saw toxic spikes. Even one layer can put things into Oko range from the Lele.
Yeah, for sure. But I think this team was interesting in the way it used Psychic Terrain, because this team doesn't really offensively abuse Psychic Terrain beyond the Unburden boost, you know? And I guess Lele's own Psychic moves and kind of Hoopa. But it's a lot more defensive, blocking priority, blocking potential threats from, blowing you up. And especially stopping Fake Out. That ended up being really good.
This team did use Psychic Terrain much more defensively than Burns did. So cool that we have 2 different versions of Psychic Terrain.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they're both in playoffs, so there's always a chance we run into them again. But I think the interesting thing about this team is that the C tier felt pretty strong, and the B tier felt a little lackluster, at least to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that on paper, Dozo Giri has like a decent win rate. I don't think the wins were their fault.
Well, I think Tatsugiri clutched a game.
Yeah, I think that Tatsugiri, after it stopped running Toxic Orb, for the love of God, like
my goat,
it actually did well, and I'm happy that Hoser took your note on that.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think so. Silvally, I think, was pretty versatile, and it did win every game. But I think it ran actually no memory one game and just was a normal type. Then the other games, it was a bit more flexible. So it's an interesting B tier one way or the other. So I think it slotted in here fine. It was a sort of some bulky piece to be able to play with all these, frail Pokemon. I think my note when it comes to Dondozo is just, it felt very bulky and stally this season, which kind of pairs well with Toxic Spikes, but I feel like Dondozo was just coming out too early in a lot of games for that to happen. I felt like it was not much had gone down, and then Dondozo would hit the field and combine, and now you can't swap out, and it's like, uh-oh.
We talked about this,
hazed.
I think, even the first time we saw Dozo bite the curb, which was versus Ned, where Dozo did come out at the end, but it was too, there wasn't enough focus put on the things that needed to die before Dozo was able to come out.
That was also a Toxic Orb game that Tatsugiri could have potentially cleaned up, but we already talked about that. But yeah, I feel like either Dozo has to be a bulky endgame win condition that the team has to be chipped down, that really comes in second to last or last, or it should be a more wall breaker, just start max attack, just start wave crashing things. like that just kills people. People just die. People don't live that, you know? And I feel like just getting that value out of it early, go 2 for 1, you still have Tatsugiri alive as another mon to get some value. That feels like a pretty good trade. So I feel like Dondozo and Tatsugiri could have done a little bit more with the combination mode, but on the whole, the rest of the team was strong enough to kind of keep it afloat, even if Dozogiri mode didn't feel the strongest. But
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it does in playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be interesting, especially, you know, when it's less, when you can't switch
especially in a
formats.
best of 3 format. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think the more aggro mode might be more valuable. Also, just pivoting into Tatsugiri more with like U-turns and stuff to like dodge attacks. We saw that like I think once this season, but I definitely think there's more potential there. I guess just to wrap up, we didn't really talk about the C tiers, but Galvantula and Jumpluff were pretty standout C tiers this season, in my opinion.
I've been a Jumpluff believer before.
For sure.
I almost talked myself into it last season, so I'm happy that it got drafted finally, and
it did pretty
I
well.
think it's good. It's discount Whimsicott to me. That's what it is.
Yeah,
with Rage
but
Powder.
It's a pretty big sale, so we'll take it. And Galvantula was just a nice sticky web team, which, you know, we saw a little bit of sticky web this season. It's nothing new, but it was good on this team.
Not to discount like the performance it had, but like I'm more happy to see something like Jumpluff pop off than I am Galvantula. I know Hoser was a bit upset that Galvantula didn't get the Miracle, and I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people nominated Jumpluff in our internal like call here.
It was just because Jumpluff was like, it's a Pokemon I knew had potential, but it hadn't been proven, and I'm very happy to see it finally pop off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
But I think that's it for this team. Well played, and we'll see how it goes for Hoser starting next week. I believe that will be against Akurari, so best of luck with that one. But we will move on. This is Ven's team. This is Platinum Dawn. Here's the bridge and many other things.
Yeah, we have Bridge. Ven's season, I think, similar to what we saw with Steven with Meteor Bower. Started out pretty strong, declined a little bit towards the middle. I think that the sets that were run were pretty varied, actually. Like Mega Kangaskhan, I think it had like 3 main niches. I think like it did setup stuff with Power Up Punch. It did like your more standard Fake Out supportive Pokemon with like Wish even, and then it had like several weeks where it just ran Seismic Toss, which is cool. I like it. It's proving to me that this Pokemon is a very versatile S tier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's interesting because, like, you know, Seismic Toss Mega Kangaskhan is not a VGC Pokemon. It never existed. It's just, so it's like a, you know, it's a Nat Dex and I guess specifically like our format specific tech.
Interesting.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it had Seismic Toss in Gen 7, but it was through transfer, and I believe you had to get rid of it for online play, so it couldn't actually run it. It was something like that. But
weird. It's
pretty cool just as an interaction and getting to see that. But yeah, I think there was a lot of interesting stuff on this team in general. I love Glamora. I'm so happy Glamora played.
Yeah, it took a while for Ven to, I think, really tap into it. And I think on paper it doesn't look like it. Like it's 4 games played with only 1 win, but I think that that's underselling it a bit. Like it did good work when it came.
Yeah, and that 1 win, like it really pushed that win for sure. It was a big part of that. Absolutely. You mentioned on the notes here, Moltres also really strong here. I don't know, Moltres wasn't a Pokemon prior to TDD that I thought much about as being particularly good, but I mean, I feel like I get proven wrong every season more and more. It's been good.
I love it. No, it's a great Pokemon. It's one of those things where I don't think that the 4X weakness hurts Moltres that much. People are less likely to hard prep into a 4X weakness in a B tier. And I even think that like for them to do so would be a little bit of an over commitment to such a thing. But at the same time, like it will fire off very powerful hurricanes. It'll fire off very powerful fire moves. It'll cause burns with Flame Body. It's hard to take down. It can roost. It can set Tailwind. Like it does a lot. I think it's commanding. It's a good B tier. Tauros also. This is maybe even the second time Ven's taken Tauros, right? This exact version of Tauros, rather.
Yeah, I believe it was in Season 6, and it played pretty much every game there.
Yeah, it was C tier back then. So this is, you know, I think both the Tauroses that got bumped up to B have proved their salt in B. Like they're both surprisingly wall breaky. they have the screen clearing like potential, and it's one of those things where like those are good moves in their own right. Like it doesn't feel like a wasted move slot if they don't run screens to run Raging Bull.
I don't feel like I have a ton to say here. I just feel like it all fit together pretty well. I love this B tier, absolutely. And the C I do have to say the C tier was funny.
C tier, they overperformed my expectations. I'll say that. Like Rotom fan, I don't know if this Pokemon actually was meant to do anything, but it ended up doing things. So
it cooked you. I genuinely. I saw
well,
this thing hit the field against you, and I was like, this man has lost the game instantaneously because he didn't prep for Rotom Fan.
I genuinely didn't prep for Rotom Fan. I is one of those, like, sometimes when you're doing prep, you're just like, cool, that there's 9 Pokemon here.
Yeah. No, just seeing it hit the field and just having no resist was killing me.
I didn't respect it, yeah. And it resisted all
you
my
have to
shit.
put respect on his name. But
I'm sorry, Rotom Fan. I'll fill out an apology form one of these days. Also, the Claydol was funny. Like, it wasn't good in so much in the matches that were official, but like in Friend Ball.
It only played the Week 9, which was kind of meant to be goofy anyway, where it did one-tap Charizard Y, so W.
Yeah, we thought it was Scarfed, but it wasn't.
And in Friend Ball, yeah. And Electrode's a pretty good partner for Archaludon. I feel like that was like one of the sticking points with this team, was supporting the Archaludon felt a little tough, you know?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Bridge. Bridge probably, I would say, like, disappointed me a little bit. Going into the season, we talked it up a lot. We were saying this was like the best A tier in the format.
I still think it might be.
I don't think it. My opinion of it didn't get lessened. I just I think that the team could have leaned into it more than it did. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of rain being set, which I think it kind of wants. You also don't have an outstanding beat up user on this team.
Well, you have that's what Electrode is for, with the
Bullet Seed.
Bullet Seed loaded dice to boost it up. It's like a decent partner for it. I assume that's why it's here. But yeah, definitely more rain, and in general, it was not quite as scary as I think it is in other formats or even in the past season. But it was still pretty good here, and it was still a big threat. So, it's a strong bridge. But I think Ven mentioned, like, she just like pivoted a couple times, so it was like it felt like the team was a little like mishmashed, especially I feel like in the top tier. I feel like once you get to B and C, or I guess specifically B tier, things get a lot more cohesive.
Sure. Yeah, the Screamtail, it sounds like Ven was happy with how the Screamtail ended up. I know it got a flop nomination, which might have been a little bit misplaced. Like, I still think that it could have done more. But
I mean, that was, I think, the main reason for the nomination, even though to me it was like one of the least floppy flop noms. Was just like there could have been a little bit more disruption or weather control, but at the end of the day, it set some valuable screens and some valuable hazards, and that's kind of what it did every week, and it was pretty good in that role. So,
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I think on the whole, I mean, even still 3-5 this season, but I think very scary pretty much every game played, right?
Yeah, there were a lot of close games.
Yeah, for sure. Took some notable wins, and just, I don't know, just pretty well done, pretty distributed kills, no specific like standout Pokemon here, just kind of everyone was out for blood. Screamtail got 4.
Yeah, that's surprising. I don't know how Pokemon with 65 attack and 65 special attack gets 4 kills in a season.
I don't know. I don't remember. I think it did like 60 with like Ice Beam to Garchomp or something. I don't remember, but
I guess 2 of those kills were in the quote friend ball of the last week.
Oh, fair. Well, still, getting a 65 base attack to kill anything is still a good bit, so we'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this team?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Good play. Happy to see you come back, Ben.
For sure. All right, let's move on. All right, next team, we've got OJ's Bird Watchers. This is another team, second to last one, that we have making it into playoffs in Quick Ball. Pretty successful season for OJ, especially compared to, I think, over time, at least before I got here, he made playoffs and then The seasons after that were a little bit rockier, but starting to improve. And then this time he finally made it back in.
Yeah, OJ's had some hit or miss seasons in the past. But I think when he's strong and he's feeling the team, like he ends up going pretty far. Like I think he had 3rd place in one of the past seasons. Maybe that was 5 or 6.
I think it was 4 or 5.
Okay, I forget exactly which one. But yeah, this is not his first time in playoffs. This is going to be, I think he'll have sort of a familiar time with that when the time comes. But yeah, this season in general, he started off strong and really just powered through. Like he dropped 2 games. One of them was week 2. The other was week 6. I think there were like several Pokemon down in the lower tiers that he really found a good rhythm with. Salamence was early on just like a crazy kill board leader. Registeel came into the picture a little bit later. Like I don't think it came until week 3, but then it became literally like a mainstay, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was like a last minute draft for him. I think it was like he was, I don't want to say holding up the draft, but he was unsure and it was approaching his draft limit, and he was messaging me asking for recommendations for special defense, and I was like, this is the one.
The one and only, the Registeel. Yeah, it's not that often that you see like a last pick that's a lot of the times it's like, okay, I need a 4th C tier. Come on. Be like this influential in the draft. But Registeel really did a lot here. Same goes for Mega Pidgeot, which only played 3 games, but I mean, it didn't drop any, so
yeah,
fair enough.
Mega Pidgeot, fun fact, is thanks to OJ here, still carrying a 100% win rate in TDD. That thing has never lost.
Wow. Because you took it last season. Had it been taken before that, or no?
Technically, yes. MathGeek benched it.
Oh, okay, so it didn't count. Okay, that's cool. I mean, yeah, good use of it. It's one of those Pokemon where it's like, you have an accurate flying move. That doesn't hurt you. That's incredible. That's a good trait.
Literally nothing else. It's Tailwind and Hurricane. That's the Pokemon.
That's all you need. And what's it called? No Guard Sing, if you're cheating.
Yeah, in certain weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think most of the C tiers, Chestnut may be the weakest one, like as far as what we've seen. But like Swampert also came to 5 games. It had Mirror Coat, like that one Showstopping moment.
Diabolical.
Yeah, Mirror Coat, Rindoberry, and then
it was just a consistent force throughout the season, I feel, other than that.
Yeah, like it had some good coverage. I don't know if he ever ran Wide Guard on this. I think Swampert gets Wide Guard.
It does.
It does?
I don't think he ran it, but that's okay. Yeah, we kind of skipped ahead to the C tiers, but fun fact, Mega Pidgeot and Registeel got 40% of his kills this season, so fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a really funny stat to me. But I guess if we go back up in the tiers, I feel like the A tier was solid. Grimmsnarl kind of had some unfortunate run-ins, I feel like, and just kind of got exploded a little early in a couple of cases.
I don't think that meant, like, I don't know if that's necessarily like a point against it, honestly.
No, it's not.
It most weeks just set screens and did like disrupty things.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I feel like it could have gotten a little more value. It just like it was the victim of like some unfortunate situations, you know, but it still got some good value out, I feel.
Cornerstone, we mentioned this a little bit ago. I think it was easily the strongest Ogerpon performance of all 4 of them.
And the only one that didn't get drafted last season when Ogerpons were introduced to our draft league. So.
And I think several people had their eyes on Cornerstone.
I did.
I think Stone did. No, I'm talking about this season.
Yeah. Stone almost took it. Yeah.
Which is funny because it's Cornerstone.
True.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Haha. Anyway, but yeah, I like this. I like this form a lot. I'm happy that it got drafted.
Yeah.
Annihilate. Let's talk about that because I think there's a lot of history with you in that thing.
Oh, my beloved. Yeah. So, ever since moving to S tier and losing the ability to terrastalize, I mean, it's definitely been a lot less of a force. I mean, it got that's kind of like an insane nerf compared to its prior performance. I feel like this kind of has the same issue of Ven's Archaludon, that the team doesn't feel very well suited to take advantage of this Pokemon. I mean, they both kind of like having the multi-hit side targeting thing to some extent, but, you know, between that and, like, you know, the lack of Friend Guard, your only redirection is Cornerstone, and your only way to set up multiple hits is, like, Chestnut Pin Missile. I'm pretty sure is the only thing on this team. It felt like it was too easy to ignore the Annihilate for a while, or just, like, you know, Toxic Spikes, or just, like, you know, blow it up, whatever. And I think it just took him a while to figure that out.
I want to say that this Annihilate was it was useful. It got some things done, but more so on like the prep side of things.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people, even towards the end of the season, put a lot of stock into what this Annihilate could do.
Yeah. I mean, it demands it.
Yeah, like they prep into it pretty hard because they kind of have to, and then that allows the rest of the team to shine.
Yeah.
Because it got less attention pre-week.
For sure. I struggle to see if that keeps holding up in playoffs because I feel like having an S tier that is just like drawing aggro is not gonna be enough in playoffs. So I feel like this thing is going to have to start seeing like a lot of good use, to really work. And I feel like that could be obviously the funny bulk up set, but that could also be other faster sets, other things that it can do, because this is still a very versatile Pokemon. So I think OJ has started to figure out how to use it, and I'm hopeful it sees some additional play and utility from there.
We have 2 pretty good Psychic types in B tier, and we have 2 Psychic Terrain teams that are in playoffs. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder how that'll go.
Iron Crown probably has a really good matchup there.
I think it does. It's quad resist to Psychic, so it's going to eat the spam really easily. It's going to dish out its own spam. He also has Grimmsnarl, which I think is very good into side terrain. Like the Prankster does hurt, but the typing,
is nice.
Good. You can run Frisk too if you just want to say, sure. I don't need to run Prankster this week. Frisk is still a very good ability in this format.
True. Yeah, and Espathra, I don't know if it's been drafted before, but I liked its use this season. I mean, it went 5 for 5, and it did a lot of really interesting stuff. I feel like the speed boost is fun. There's some interesting utility. It set Trick Room once, which was funny. So I feel like, in general, this team was pretty interesting, and it's just a matter of moving into playoffs if OJ can min-max the value on this thing, pretty much, or on this team in general.
2 things. Espathra was drafted as a Terra captain, actually.
Oh, I forgot completely.
And then also, I did mention OJ has experience with playoffs. This is going to be OJ's first time since we switched the playoffs format to be best of 3 on the same set, same like team. So that'll be something that's new for him and something he'll have to adapt to.
Yeah. I feel like it benefits him though, because he's not someone like, obviously there are like Rindoberry jump scare and everything every now and then, but I don't feel like he's quite as reliant on a lot of like, jump scare or like surprise factor strategies as some other players, and those strategies become less powerful in a best of 3 set team format. So I think the format will benefit him if he can adapt to it.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot of Pokemon that are just like Mega Pidgeot, clicked Hurricane. You know, it's going to do that next time. It's going to do that. It did that last week. It'll do that next week. Exactly. For sure. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this team, right?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Let's move on to our next team. That's going to be Run It Back. That is Kotard's team.
Let's go.
We are actually so back. 5th place overall, went 4-4, but had an incredible start to the season. Our longest lasting undefeated player in terms of, how long before taking a loss, and still had a chance at playoffs up until the very end. So what an improvement from prior seasons. Oh my god.
Yeah, there were a lot of people cheering for Kotard this season, especially after watching him struggle with adapting to Trick Room and sort of being stuck in that mode. Having him kind of emerge into this hyper offense, like the pipeline is real. That's all I'm going to say.
It is. Yeah, I mean,
he really just clicked buttons, especially early on. Things died.
Yeah. I mean, he came into the season with, like, a lot more... Like, he really came into it with just, like, I want to stop clicking Trick Room. I want things to die. And then I think he just had the idea of Chi-Yu. We talked a bit. He figured out some other guys. And then, here we are.
Yeah, he was the only person in Quick Ball to beat Whiskey.
Yeah, which... That's actually quite a feat, especially, like, as a week 1, just learning the team, just picking it up and just, like, exploding things is quite impressive.
It might have been a bit of a blessing that it was a week 1 matchup for him, because Whiskey was asleep.
You mean, like, physically asleep, or like...
I mean, he was hibernating.
Right, he was
I'm
coming
just
out
gonna
of...
keep saying that because it's like it's a bear joke. Because of Barcelona.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't get the bear joke. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, some pretty nice wins in general. Looking at the team itself, I mean, you just see so much special attack on this team. Chi-Yu, Iron Bundle, Mega Alakazam, Zoroark, even like Kilowattrel, Dragalge, Vaporeon. a lot of ways to make use of the Beads of Ruin here. And notably, I feel like this Chi-Yu didn't sit in the back as often as it did in prior seasons. Like, I feel like in the past, I saw Chi-Yu as, like, used in the end game as, like, a cleanup. I feel like this Chi-Yu was much more aggressive in terms of appearing earlier in matches.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know if it led often, but I do know it led a couple times.
It did lead a couple times, and it's led in the past in other seasons, but I just felt like in terms of positioning, it was used earlier, and I think that was to this team's benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how cognizant he was of the ability, like positioning it around, but it definitely helped, you know, even if he wasn't conscious of it.
I assume it's like if it's on the field next to a special attacker, you're like, all right, this is going to hurt. You know, not necessarily that you're trying to switch Chi-Yu in to get it all the time, but it's something you're aware of. I really like the synergy with Mimikyu, given Mimikyu is like a support mon that actually isn't affected by the downside of Beads of Ruin for the first hit, because it's guaranteed to survive that hit, even if it is a boosted special attack, you know? So I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, super cool. Mimikyu did a lot of work on that note. Just being supportive. A couple weeks it clicked Swords Dance. I honestly think it did a lot better when it was running the supportive set.
I
like
agree.
The Swords Dance, the offense was not needed on this team from Mimikyu.
Yeah.
The offense was elsewhere, and I think Mimikyu probably should have stayed in the supportive role a little more than it did. But I think it's still like it did its thing. I think Kotard has used Mimikyu at least twice, maybe all 3 seasons.
He's used it every time, yes.
Okay. And even in the gym challenge, I believe. So that's his guy. He knows what he's doing with it. You know, every match is data.
Yeah, I think it really changed my perspective on Mimikyu as like a nice, like kind of like hold the line sort of Pokemon on a very aggressive team. So it felt a little out of place at first when he took it, or not even out of place, just everyone being like, he's regressing to Trick Room. No.
Yeah.
But it ended up fitting pretty well. I will say, this team did really well, despite some of, like, the A and B tiers just kind of not doing anything.
And, yeah, I mean, Venusaur came to nothing.
Yeah.
He might as well have had 9 Pokemon. I mean, he did have 9 Pokemon.
Yeah.
And,
Zoroark
yeah, I think Alakazam probably struggled quite a bit. It's a hard Pokemon to use, I think.
I feel like it just got diffed by Iron Bundle.
Yeah, it's a little redundant on the bundle side. It's just it being item locked is scary for it. It's obviously really fast, and it does take quite a bit of investment to outspeed. But if the opponent has set up a Trick Room or a Tailwind or is even Scarfed, that Alakazam is probably dying, which is just hard to play around.
That's the thing.
So there's no redirection on this team, so
true.
I honestly imagine if Venusaur was like Clefairy or something.
Evil. Yeah.
Clefable. I guess Clefairy was drafted.
Yeah, but like any sort of redirection or utility or something, or Mega Alakazam could be like Mousehold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that. Mega Zoroark, Hisui, I feel like the more Kotard learned about how the illusion mechanics work, the more he realized that it doesn't hold as much water as you would hope. Like, he couldn't really disguise Chi-Yu as it, because the second Illusion Zoroark hits the field and there's no Beads of Ruin text, you kind of know. So
yep, it's unfortunate. I think that like Zoroark is one of those Pokemon that's very good in random doubles, and that's it.
I feel like it needs a very specific team to work. Like, I have one in my head that like I feel like I could make it fit on, but it's a very specific team. So, and I would draft it in an off season.
See that in like a gym challenge or something.
Yeah.
The C tiers did pretty well though. Vaporeon kind of did its normal thing. It was just very tanky and
Dude, it did not do its normal thing. It creates Synchronoise and Alluring Voice.
Okay, yeah, but it also did its thing, right?
It did, but that was 2 of its 3 games.
Oh, okay, good point. My bad. Kilowattrel, I've always felt like this is a good Pokemon. It's just like C tier Zapdos, really.
It's so good.
Very
I think
good
Meteor got a lot out of it last season, and it did a lot this season too. So very nice Pokemon, very nice speed tier.
Tauros came to almost every. No, it did come to every match.
Yeah.
It did get quite a few kills.
Yep.
It was basically the only physical offense on this team, and it was intimidating. So pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And last, Dragalge, the GOAT.
Yeah, I've never slept on this Pokemon. I used it many years ago in the very first gym leader challenge as the Dragon type gym, and I loved it.
I mean, that makes sense. I guess you're like Fairy resist Dragon or Fairy neutral Dragon. So I get that, but yeah, I mean, I didn't think about this Pokemon much at all. Its stat line is really unassuming, but I guess at the end of the day, base power is king. 130 is gonna hurt.
What's 130?
Draco Meteor, base power.
I mean, with adaptability, it's kind
Yeah,
of not.
yeah.
It's kind of much higher.
True. No, I mean 130. You know, I just assume that is. You're right. But yeah, if there's anything I've learned from Gen 9, it is that multipliers are messed up. You get your adaptability boost, and you get your,
Because that's
your
260.
item boost, everything.
Like that.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
From 130. The second fucking Draco is 130.
A second Draco Meteor has, well,
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, I think my biggest question for next season, and I think Kotard has already answered this, is whether Kotard sticks with this team style or changes it up. Because honestly, I would not even be opposed to it if he drafted this entire same team minus like a couple, maybe change up the C tier a bit, maybe drop the Venusaur and some other Pokemon that didn't do much, and just like run it back, quite literally,
Yeah, his team names have always been like a
They're
progression, so we're gonna see where it goes from here.
I'm hyped for the plot line to continue, hopefully, at some point. But I think that's all I've got on this team. Very successful season, I feel like, overall.
Yep. Happy for Kotard. A lot of improvement.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And last but not least, this is Terminal Velocity. This is Akurari's team and our last player to make it into playoffs this season. Akurari started in Season 7, also making playoffs there, and I feel like this team was similarly successful to the last one overall. Slightly worse record, but, overall kind of similar results.
Yeah, this is the kind of team I would draft. I'm sure I said that in the overview, but...
Probably. I mean, this is the kind of team I would draft because he and I talked a lot about it back and forth and ended up on this. Mega Salamence is my GOAT. It kind of didn't do much, but that felt kind of similar to the Urshifu single strike thing where it didn't feel like it had to do much a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There were, there's always cases where like it could do more, but I felt like it was not like a dead weight on this team, and I think it'll be a big help in playoffs for sure because guess what? Flying Stab. That actually hits.
I think like Salamence having only 4 kills, you might look at that and think it didn't do too much being Mega Salamence, but like unless you look back and see what those kills are, which I haven't done, I'm just gonna assume it was also like it was wall breaking or revenge killing things, which is really an important role.
Yeah, I mean, Mega Salamence tends not to like one-tap things unless it's like a little bit low defense and you're like clicking double edge. Aerialate boosted and everything. It usually will just deal like 70 to something, and its role wasn't really to get like the bulk of like the final blows on this. So I don't think
I think that was clearly like Chimpow's role, and then like Primarina being a setup Pokemon.
Yeah, for
pretty
sure.
Strong on this team. I think Ment's also got to remember it gets Intimidate, and I think there were several cases where Akurari would switch it out pre-Mega and get a second Intimidate off.
I think so. Yeah,
at least once, I want to say.
That's really helpful for the Primarina, which loved to Calm Mind this season too. Just like get the boost, and also you can offset your own Xianpao's sort of Ruin debuff to help prevent your bulky team from like, having a physical weakness, I guess, when Xianpao is on the field. Speaking of Xianpao, I think it and Zeraora, really fun duo. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and that was the last minute pick, I believe, Chimpao.
Yeah, he was very back and forth on it. I think it was something like Hoser was also back and forth on his last A-tier slot, and he was originally going to take Xianpao, and I think Aku was probably going to take like Landorus or something, kind of just swapped, and I think it worked out for them. So that was just kind of funny. But
interesting. I'm trying to imagine this team with Landorus. I think 2-4x Ice is a little bit sus, but
I actually don't think it was Landorus. I actually think he wanted Volcarona, and he did get it taken, but the B tier would have been different. But this team went through a lot of revisions, but
it ended up being pretty scary. Like, we'll see how it goes. It's very fast. It's got some answers to Trick Room, like the Electabuzz can slow momentum a lot. Copperajah is fine in Trick Room. Both the B, honestly, all 3 of the B tiers are pretty okay in Trick Room.
Yeah, well, maybe not Superior.
You're right, not Superior. I keep thinking that Superior is like base 60 speed, but it's very fast.
Okay, Superior did absolute air this season, I will say, and it was a pretty early B tier pick.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a difficult Pokemon to use because it does one thing and it does it sort of okay.
I
Like,
think it has more utility than people give it credit for, but at the same time, it's hard to like be like, oh, I want that utility instead of like Prankstery Lumise or, you know, Follow Me Electabuzz.
yeah, what are you suggesting? Like base 113 Glare?
That, Light Screen, there's some other stuff, but it's not like a ton, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, regardless, the other B tiers did work. Volcanion came to every game. It was a mandatory bring. Primarina not
Volcanion.
as mandatory, but like, you know, more commanding when it did come.
Yeah.
I think moving down from the B tiers, the Caparaja was a little bit surprising. Like that's usually what I would consider to be a premier B tier. It was the first one that Akurari drafted. It only came to 2 games. Most probably, if I had to look, like it's just a Trick Room matchup, right?
It came into Whiskey for the Trick Room, and it was pretty good there.
And OJ.
And OJ, where it didn't really get much, but that was just like OJ just cooked that match. Yeah, I mean, it could have done more, but I feel like with the way this team is set up, you don't necessarily need, like, you don't want to be bringing, like, a very slow Pokemon very often. It's just nice insurance in case you think someone's going to Trick Room you. You just have the scary elephant to blow them up.
Yeah, well, we've seen this thing get, you know, high kill counts in the past, and maybe that's just like my own bias expecting something similar. Blaziken didn't really do much. I guess it came to a game, but I honestly don't think it even showed up because that was the Stormy game, and it looks like it was a 6-0.
It didn't hit the field. I remember. So I feel like that thing's still a ridiculous C tier. I'm surprised it didn't do more. I just feel like he pretty much brought Salamence, Zeraora, Xianpao, Primarina, Volcanion to the majority of games, and then like the other like 5 Pokemon had to fight for scraps. So
yeah, it's very surprising that all the C tiers even saw a game, to be honest, with like how good this top 6 is.
Electabuzz saw 4. Which
I love Electabuzz. I'm happy that it got taken.
Electabuzz and Magmar are so good for how little they've been taken in our league, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed.
And I feel like they saw use in VGC once Gen 9 gave them Follow Me back. And honestly, I remember Akurari was high on Electabuzz, like, before VGC actually picked up on it. He was telling me about it in Draft League because it had Follow Me for us back then, and I told him he was stupid, and then I was a fool because Electabuzz showed up in VGC a lot. So, you know, that one's on me.
Apology forms and all.
Yeah, I know. I have to write a lot of them after this.
Well, we'll see if it does more in playoffs. I actually think it's cool to have a Pokemon on your roster like Blaziken that, you know, it's such a dark horse going into playoffs because it just didn't show up at all during the season. But I think it has room to be so threatening. For
sure, so I could see it pop off, but we'll see. I think he's
matchup for what's the matchup for quarters here for Akurari?
That's versus Hoser. I think it's an interesting matchup since those two have, you know, worked together on some teams and stuff. But I'm excited to see it. I feel like similar to OJ, Akurari is someone who benefits from the best of 3 single team format since he's not like quite as, you know, similar thing, like not very like relying on unpredictable sets necessarily. So I feel like that benefits him as well. So we'll see how this team's goes there, but I have a good amount of faith in it for sure. Yeah, big bleep. Anyway, I think that's it for our teams, and with the awards done as well, I guess that's it for this episode. We can move on to the outro.
Yeah, let's send it there.
Cool. That's going to be it for our season wrap-up. I feel like I've said this at the end of most episodes, but really cool season to be watching. I'm very happy with how this turned out.
Yeah, the regular season was so insanely close in both divisions. We had multiple players vying for like that last playoff spot, which we've seen in the past, but I don't think we've seen it to this degree.
Yeah.
Where we had such a high number of players sharing a record towards the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this during the overview, but like the season's draft strength we felt was super high.
Mm-hmm.
Like the players across both divisions really just, there were so many teams that were scary on paper.
Pretty much every team on this draft either was ridiculously scary to look at or proved itself to be very, very scary in practice very quickly.
Right. We jotted some notes down for like general trends that we thought were different for the season compared to others. One of them was Hazards kind of took a front seat.
Yeah.
We saw lots of Stealth Rocks usage. We saw Sticky Web usage. We saw some spikes. We saw some Toxic Spikes.
Yeah, I
which
saw
is unusual.
a lot of toxic spikes used to try to break through like particularly bulky teams. In particular. But yeah, I guess just a lot of rock weak teams. I mean, we even saw heavy duty boots last week just out of fear of stealth rock. And, you know, at least when I started in season 6, I saw stealth rock as a let me pop that focus sash, you know? And now it's kind of everywhere along with the other hazards, but it's not necessarily a bad strategy, right? I mean, it's stronger here than in VGC, so it makes sense.
Yeah, Stealth Rocks is probably just the most reliable because there's no immunity to it outside of the item.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like Magic Guard or whatever, but like...
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone took that.
We also have written down here, so we think that like this season was the season of setup as well. Most teams had numerous weeks where they were relying on setup to endgame. Yeah,
like, or not even just endgame, but just like punch holes. I mean, you had the aforementioned, like, you know, Carry and Executioner. You have your Armor Rouge and your Ursaluna got their stat boosts and would kill 3 or kill 4. And then you had your Sinistra Calm Minds in the end game, and your Suicune Calm Minds, and you had your Primarina
Urshifu got a
Calm
setup
Minds.
ace. Goldengo got a setup ace.
Yeah.
We had almost setup ace from Ursaluna
As well.
got
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Nasty Plot Spectrier, Nasty Plot Nagana Dell. A lot of setup that just ended up being very difficult to deal with.
I think the setup side, like compared to the hazards, which I think like we have seen lots of setup in TDD before. I don't think it's as new and unusual as the hazards, but it was prevalent.
Yeah, for sure. It's just some interesting trends. I guess there's like differences in, you know, the setup of like a sweeper and the setup of an endgame Pokemon. I am kind of curious to see how, I don't want to say metagame, but the trends shift between like, you know, your kind of hyper offense versus like more balanced teams, you know? So I feel like a lot of people have been finding hyper offense and getting really like just falling in love with the strategy, you know? Like it happened with Kotard this season, and some other players are just like missing their hyper offense, you know? So I'm curious if we'll see more of that in the future just as people grow to enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, and we have playoffs coming up. We're going to see these teams, at least a couple of them, a couple more times this week while the video is launching. That this is the week of quarterfinals. So we have a couple matches, but it's 4 matchups. Or
3 matches because Burn is off this week, so his team is taking a break right now. But
right, which is potentially 9 games.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about the format already a little bit. They've already seen the announcements, but if you have any questions about the format, it's in the server announcement, but it's pretty much best of 3, same team throughout. So sets can be revealed, and they will be revealed for the whole best of 3, so just be aware of that.
And we're asking you guys to send your pastes into mod mail before the match, and that's, you know, for obvious reasons, we don't want to have any temptation to change something between sets. So. Yeah, it's very easy to, it's very possible to like tweak sets. I trust you guys, but just for safety's sake, also because it's a long set, may as well get the verification done beforehand. So. And strictly speaking here, nobody in playoffs is part of the mod mail chat, so there's really no reason to not send it in early. True, actually. We all flubbed it. Well, hey, that one's not on me. True. This guy flubbed it before the season even started. I flubbed it in Season 7, where I did the stupid thing of trying to go to medical school. Anyway, I guess that'll be it. Diego. My bad. Diego. Shut up. That's the last name, which you'll never know. I haven't doxed myself that hard. Alright, I guess that's going to be it for this season. We can just head on out of here. If there's nothing... Uh-oh. Is he at the door again? That has to be him. Yeah, you can come in. Hi, Lifeweaver. Hi. Hey, Lifeweaver. How you doing? Anything? Oh. What did we do? What did we do? Did you? Oh God, it was when I talked about the steel type. I did tie break to. We didn't give Cleric to fairy type. Oh my God, it's. Hey, Lifeweaver, we can cut that out of the video. We can fix the tie break. We're gonna redo the whole thing. The rewards, they're rigged. It's fine. I can literally just change. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's actually gonna do. Oh my God. He took Super Bloom. No. Oh my God. Oh my God. Urshifu single strike. What's he doing here?
Oh my god, he actually did
Oh
it.
god. Oh god. He's dead. Oh my
Okay.
god.
Oh, Urshifu,
What do we do now?
we gotta get out of here. Oh, okay. It's fine. We can trust Urshifu. We go way back. You gotta trust me on this.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go.
All right,
We gotta
come
go
on,
fast.
lead the way, brother.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, I
Wow,
think
we
they're
got out
still
of there.
chasing us. Urshifu said he's got a camp set up, and we're essentially just trying to get out of Big Fairy territory. But
Oh, that's a good thing.
yeah,
you speak
no,
Portuguese.
I can
have no
translate.
idea
I
what
had
you're
to learn it after we, well, you know, it's history. I can't dig it up now, but I guess this is his way of repaying the favor. So. No,
Okay. Well,
I
as long
trust
as you know
Urshifu
what we're
single
doing.
strike with my
I'm
life. We
terrified
gotta get
right
him
now.
back so we can get to semifinals in time, though. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Bert's gonna
Well,
beat him.
I guess I've still been juiced. And that's
Yeah, and I think I'm
Urshifu's
still
single
Diggery.
strike,
We'll
I
see.
guess. So we'll see you guys for the quarterfinals playoffs game coming up, or playoffs games coming up.
Yeah. We obviously going to have very little equipment
I
from
mean,
here on
maybe-
out, so
Maybe Urshifu and the gang
Excuse
have
our
the
video
recording
quality.
equipment set up. So we'll see. All right, I guess we'll call it there. See ya.
all right. See you next week.